Hello. Good evening. How is everyone tonight? I hope everyone is having an awesome time. If you are watching this, please leave a comment. I want to see all the comments. I want to see all your pretty faces. Get everyone to know that you are here and you are hanging out with us tonight. We have a great show. We have some really cool guests. As you see, I've been doing these a lot lately. We do a lot of creator hangouts. I'll be doing them a lot because I am live. You guys know the rules. If I am live, I am doing hangouts. So I'm going to hang out with some friends. A lot of them are brand new people who I haven't done. Hey, Mark, how are you? How's things? A lot of them are brand new people who I haven't interacted with before, which is super dope. Some of them are some old favorites, and we've got people coming in at 11. We got people probably leaving early. It's going to be a wild night. So come. Sit, have a awesome beer with me, and let's go. Caleb says I didn't even invite him. That's easily fixed, Caleb. I can invite you right now. Caleb can stop his bitching. We'll get him invited very quickly because I love Caleb, and I love his voice. That is the YouTube link. That's not going to help him at all. Let's get him invited. Caleb is a great content creator as well. All right, so let's see who I have tonight, who I can mess up their name. I have Rodney Fink. How are you, good sir?
It's Fike.
He started out wrong.
0 for 1.
0 for 1. 0 for 1. 0 for 1. How are you, brother?
I'm doing great, man. How about yourself?
Good. You know, I'm sure Tina's told you that I'm a huge fan of your company. Yes. I love Roadkill Rampage. You guys stole Patrick for a thing. I'm okay with it. It's over now. But I heard you may be doing it again, so we may have some issues then. But until that happens, we can deal. But how are you tonight?
I'm doing well. Just got off a Thursday night throwdown, so I'm juiced. I'm primed. I'm ready to go. So
yeah, John said his wife doesn't allow him to do streams in bed, so we can't have John on. But I was hoping.
Well, we know how those wives rule.
I think it'd be fine. My wife would be completely fine. Like if she's trying to sleep, if I was just laying there, like talking about her comic, I don't know why she'd have a problem. But let's get some other people in here. We got some great people. Oh, Brian's in the chat. Hey, Brian, how are you, man? Good to see you. Benjamin Morris, how'd I do?
How's it going? That's correct. Yeah, right.
Now, should I go Benjamin, or do you prefer the improper Ben?
Oh, Ben is fine. You normally go by Ben, but there's another Ben Morris running around in comics who used to edit it normal. So I try to use the Benjamin just to avoid confusion.
But your book is fancy, so I think, and Benjamin is a little fancier than Ben. So I think you're good. I think you're good.
It's about my level of pretentiousness. Sometimes I put a W in there just to really punch it up.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. All right. Next, we have the very exciting Matt Knowles.
What's up? Hey, you know what? I just got to tell you, backstage, when you said I'm not going to mess anybody's name up, and you messed up Rodney's name, I freaking cackled because that was amazing. But I literally already have a question. So if Ben Morse met Ben Morse at a show, would there be a Thunderdome like fight, or would it be like where like two different universes come together and everything would just explode? What would happen?
Well, I think it would be better for everyone if it were. I mean, ideally there'd be no fight at all. But
that wouldn't be as fun. That wouldn't be fun.
And we're
nobody wants that.
Drama. So, but oddly enough, when my grandmother would Google my name every now and then, this is over a decade ago, and this Ben Morris edited Marvel, so he's a comic book person and was into wrestling. And I wrestled in high school and junior high. So she'd find his blog, and there was a ton of profanity, not by our standards at the time. But she looked that up and she figured, comic books and wrestling, this is my band, and gave me some grief about the language used on his blog. But it wasn't me. I'm not sure she believed me. But because he had like a tiny thumbnail, and when it's really small, he had like blondish hair. So he looked enough like me that my grandma thought, you're out there on the internet using bad language, and we're going to talk about it. So there has been some confusion.
Well, speaking of people who use bad words on the internet, Sean Barber's here. How are you?
What's up, gentlemen? How's it going?
What's up, Sean?
He is not afraid to use some bad language on the internet, as far as I've seen. I think this background is a little distracting, though. Hold on, let me change out this background real quick. Is that better now? None of these are better.
Just all busy.
Yeah, they're all busy. That's good. That's good. My Granite State's good. Okay. So Sean, how are you, man? Is it true? And maybe this is a rumor, or maybe I'm making it up right here on the spot. It's unknown. But I've always been known as the hardest working man in comics, but you are trying to fucking take that title from me recently not even just on the Kickstarter, like Indie Comics Conspiracy. You're like, you guys got to get your motherfucking shit in line. I'm swearing a lot tonight. You got to get your shit in line. Like you're like hitting that groove, trying to make us, talking more and doing stuff. So you're working really hard lately, man.
Now, yeah, no, the main point of that whole Indie Comic Conspiracy page when it started was less about marketing and more about networking and support. So I think when not us, but maybe a lot of creators, when left to their own devices, they just hit straight Kickstarter mode or whatever crowdfunding platform they do. And then they're kind of like used to dropping just empty links and stuff like that. So I tried to battle that. And as the group settings kind of improved along the way, I decided to utilize those and stick to those days that we have set. Right. So that motivational Monday, the Just a Tip Tuesday, just all the stuff that people can use to benefit their growth and leveling up if they're interested in it. And it makes it super easy to search. That way, if you have a specific thing you're looking for, it's an easy thing for anybody just getting in or anybody that's been around that needs a refresher.
No, absolutely. I agree with that. So tonight we're going to have a good time. We're going to get through all your Kickstarters. We're going to go through all of them. So if you guys are in this group and you know how StreamYard works, please go into the group chat or the private chat and message me your links so I can have them, so I can get them all up on the screen. But tonight we're gonna have a good time. I have people coming in and out all night. We're gonna hang out. We're gonna party. We're gonna try to keep it a little light tonight versus other nights. We're gonna pitch a Kickstarters. We're gonna put some light numbers on the board, but we're gonna keep going back to these Kickstarters because that's what's important. It's important to get these Kickstarters funded to get people where they need to go. Dan Barr, who also has a Kickstarter right now, very useful stuff. Sean, yeah, absolutely, I agree. But yeah, our goal is to help all of us, grow a little bit, help the community, talk about what's going on in the community, and see what we can do to just have a hell of a good time talking about comics. So let's go over the Kickstarters first. Let's talk. Who do I got here? Ben did his first, so we'll get Ben up first. I'll move Ben around. I want to get them in order. Sean, and then Matt, and then Rodney's still looking, I think.
No, I'm good.
Yeah, I didn't get the message. Got to put it in the private chat so I can get the link.
Oh.
The little whisper box.
All right. We'll start with Ben. We'll get Ben up here. We'll talk about this. So we're going to start in Zoop, which is a strange area, far beyond the Empire's reach. Tell us about Zoop, Ben, and about your book that you've done. You've done a few issues of this bad boy before. So let's talk about We Are Scarlet.
So We Are Scarlet Twilight is the book. This campaign is for issue 4 and for the hardcover collection of 1 through 4. So this is kind of the end of the story. This particular part of the story. So this is, you've got a lot of options here. We have you can get number 4 if you've been following along. You can catch up with some of the other issues if you've missed a few, and of course you can get that hardcover collection that's going to have 1 through 4 plus a ton of other art, sketches, designs, and extra material, story stuff, all that. As far as Zoop, you asked about that. It's I think a lot of people know it's another comics crowdfunding platform. The difference between Kickstarter and Indiegogo and some of the other ones is just about comics, which is what drew me there. The team there has been really great. As far as just planning out some of the logistics of the campaign that I was doing myself on Kickstarter, and that freed me up to do so much better on getting the book done. As of now, I'm about 3 panels from having the book done, which is a huge departure for how scheduling went on the other ones where I was doing everything myself. So there's just a great comics-focused team there, and that was like I said, so far I've had a great experience with them.
And this is 100% you too. You pencil, ink, color, the whole shebang, right? Right.
Oh yeah, everything from writing to pre-press. That's all.
Okay. So, all right. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to write that on our list here. We are Scarlet. And this has been on Kickstarter, though, before, right? Has all 4 issues been on Kickstarter?
1 through 3 were on Kickstarter. For 4, I switched over to Zoop. With
Wow.
3, I had some family stuff go on during the campaign for 3, and it ended up really slowing down production. And then there were some further delays on, printer has the files and all that stuff, and not quite, not having that go quite as fast as I'd like. But I look back at the parts of it that were a delay on my end,
Right.
which is just to say finishing the book. And while people have been incredibly understanding about that, I also was like, hey, I've got to find a way to do this better. I need to get this book to backers faster. And if there's delays on the printing side, that's fine. People, I think, will understand. But as far as the delays that were, on my end, as far as just basically finishing the art and lettering, I wanted to make sure I freed up some time so that wouldn't happen. And that was the big reason I wanted to jump over to Zoop, because they handle a lot of the planning, getting quotes from printers, shipping, and all that stuff. That just freed me up to completely focus on the creative side of things.
Right. No, I can dig that. I can understand that. All right. So we're gonna put you're at 11,096 at 272 backers. Let's see if we can get you 2 backers tonight, which gets you 274, and then we'll try to get you to 11,120. That's what we'll try for. We'll see if that happens. But that's where you're at, and we're going to move over to the next person. But it sounds pretty exciting. I'm excited. And then one other thing. So before we go on from you have it coming out in the direct market soon too. What can you share the company and all that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So it's coming out to the direct market through Red 5 Comics. They also released my science fiction series August, Purgatory Underground, last year. Mm-hmm. And I think this just dropped in previews maybe a few weeks ago. So it should be out, I want to say May 24th is when it's going to be in stores. And I think there's a month or 2 left to look at it in previews and order it. So if you're not a crowdfunding person, if you're not an online comics person, you like to go to your stores, ask them about it. It is in previews right now.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. All right. Well, Rodney was here first. I'm going to move him up a little bit in order. And he sent me the link finally. Well, he didn't send me the link. I got the link, though. How did Alan get my link? I did not give it to Alan. I will promise you the fuck I did not do that. Hey, Alan, how are you tonight?
Hello.
Are you here to let me down? Alan,
that's right. Alan sent me so that I could let you down personally.
That's shit, Dad. You did trick me with the name for like half a second, and then I just rolled with it. But Caleb is here, going as Alan Dunford for whatever reason.
That's right. Well, I'm going as Alan Dunford. I'm interrupting. I'm interrupting here, but I'm going as Alan Dunford because Alan and I have, as you know, teamed up for a podcast, and so I'm representing him. He and we're basically married now, so we're interchangeable. Yep. So, if you want to hear me talking about how I failed on Kickstarter, we do have a podcast. It's called Crowd Blunders. Right. That's Alan told me I had to come on here and just talk about my podcast, our podcast.
No, I like I better because I like you more than Alan. Alan's let me down, and you have not. See the difference between you and Alan. Even when it's financially stupid to make a silly giraffe thing, you're still making them if I demand them enough. But all right, we're going to talk about Rodney here. Fike, not Fink. And I don't have a haircut for someone who asks John, but I did comb my hair. Yes, I'm trying something new. It's called a brush. It's weird. It's super fancy. I've had them in the bathroom the whole time. I just I didn't know what they were for. They just kind of stood there. So, do you want to tell us about dog boners, Rodney?
Dog boners? No.
That's what we're talking. That's
dog house. Get it right, son.
Oh, all right. So Doghouse. Tell us about Doghouse.
Doghouse. It's a story of our two canine detectives, Shirako and Rubs. They live in the city, New Grouse City, and Doghouse is just south of the Tuna Tunnel. It's the local bar. So it features our two detectives, and they're called to the local bar to investigate the death of the bar's owner, Eddie. And the two prime suspects are Sin, who is Eddie's longtime friend and bartender, and then Fleeby, Eddie's side piece. So the story centers around the last 48 hours of Eddie's life and all the strange occurrences and happenings that's been going on at the bar in that time. So it's a good, ornery, adult humor. So just kind of think Howard the Duck with mutts. I grew up on Looney Tunes and Animaniacs and stuff like that, so it's got a lot of that humor that the adults will get and the kids won't. And just so everybody knows, there's no nudity in the book. There's no 4-letter words. It's just a lot of adult, sexual
situations.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's just a comedy. It's given me a chance to, after spending 4 issues writing a horror story with Roadkill Rampage, I wanted to do a little bit of humor, but I wanted to stay with the adult theme. So I jumped into Doghouse, which is our adult themed cartoon dogs. So it's just a lot of slapstick fun. It's a good whodunit mystery murder.
I'll tell you, the main banner, for whatever reason, right off the top of my head, reminded me of that old Snoop Dogg album cover.
Okay.
Oh yeah. On the Doghouse. Okay. Yeah.
I see it now.
I thought that was pretty rad. I was like, okay, I backed it. So yeah. So everybody else should too.
Awesome.
Well, clearly I backed it as well. But yeah, it's a cool book. I've seen some of the art. I love some of the variant covers that you have here. The Michael Lanning, I love his stuff. I like that you got the Daphne and Michael doing stuff. You got the whole family over there. I did a book with the word dog in it that was not so good, and this one's way more exciting.
I heard that the one that you wrote with dog in it was totally drama free, like behind the scenes. Nothing bad happened.
That's what I hear. That's what I hear. Mine did have 4-letter words on this one. It had a lot of them.
Yeah, didn't it like basically just publish itself? Like it took no effort whatsoever.
Correct. It is out and in print, and it was easy, and probably the best experience I've had in comics thus far.
I heard it was out. I heard that it actually was out like a month before they even wrote it. It was out that early.
It was literally a self-published book.
That was literally some of it. So how many issues is this planned? Because it's got to be semi-finite, right? Because there's a mystery. Eventually you got to solve that mystery.
The story is self-contained, so you can buy issue 1 and not have to worry about it. With issue 2, I'm sure there are going to be carryover themes because some of the characters carry over. A couple of the characters have appeared in issues of Pitter Patter. So it's a universe that they all live in, I don't know. It depends on what kind of support it gets. In my mind, it can go on forever because I've got plenty of stories. And so far, so good. We backed within 72 hours, so that was awesome. And the better it does, the more likely we'll continue doing it. Hopefully, we can keep doing it forever and ever because I love it. It's gives me a chance to stretch my adult humor legs, and I like writing that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's the plan.
Awesome. Well,
keep running.
All right, so you're at 52 backers. We're going to try to get you to 54 backers tonight. We'll try to get you to 1,600. Let's try to do that.
That sounds good to me. Let's do it.
See if we can get that done tonight. Talk to my peeps. Let me share this out because that's the thing I forgot to do. But Matt is here, so Matt will remind me, which is a great thing. And Matt, don't remind me privately. Remind me publicly because it'll get done way faster than the private chat because I'll ignore that if I don't have to listen to it.
Fair enough. Got you.
Appreciate that. Hold me accountable because I want people to back. So, and guys, please back these things. The sooner you back them, the more we can talk about comics and less worry about getting us that money, yo. All right, Alan / Caleb, you're gonna have to hold back. What and question for you, Alan / Caleb. Caleb, because you're not in your hole, that your little studio thing, is that when you become Alan? Like you come
Oh,
out?
right. Yeah. No, actually, I'm sitting here in my living room because this is I'm almost embarrassed to admit this, but I was just standing at work today and sort of leaning to one side, and I rolled my foot so hard that I heard a pop, and I haven't been able to walk on that foot all day, so I'm like soaking my foot in like this like, and that's why I'm not sitting in my office right now.
Okay.
So yeah, that's what happened to me. But no, I'm always Alan. You don't know this, but we are the same person. Every time
Okay.
you've disrespected Alan, you've been disrespecting me.
Okay. I look forward to addressing that. Let's keep holding this down. And I will continue to disrespect Alan until he shows me the respect that I am deserved.
Is this like a Shazam like thing where you have to say a certain word and you guys just and you switch out?
Yeah, something like that.
We have to guess the word, right?
Yeah, you have to guess the word. We are actually Alan and I have been friends for a few years, and we have discovered the more conversations we have, the more we have in common. It's actually shocking in our private lives how much we have in common. It's kind of crazy.
Let us stir foot. Now, Caleb has a ongoing problem with people with foot problems. Because last time we had you on, didn't your girlfriend have a foot problem and you had to take care of her? Did she hurt her foot?
Oh, she fell skiing and she had a neck problem, but she's fine now.
Lots of accidents in the Caleb household.
Yeah, that's right. We're very clumsy people.
So, Matt,
What's up?
Aren't children's books the best?
Let me tell you what, man.
Yeah,
definitely got to go when you've got an all ages book. You got to have some tempered expectations,
right,
because going in and doing crowdfunding on a book that appeals to a broader audience, as odd as it sounds, makes the crowdfunding base a little bit smaller. Because when people go to crowdfunding, think about what the normal, $50, $60, $40, $70 average backer. You normally are not spending that money to give it to a preteen. I'm saying you're normally buying collectibles or buying collectible covers or variant covers or limited things. And it makes it tough. Doesn't mean we don't love the books. We love the books. We want to get them out there, but it definitely is not a campaign where you're going to expect, like, I could tell you right now, if this was Uno and I could like switch hands with Ben Morse, I would give him my hand. I'm like, dude, can I play a switch hands card and take that $10,000 campaign?
Reverse.
Exactly.
Well, and I think when you think about Kickstarter, a lot of people get upset about the booby books and stuff like that, but I actually really love them, even though they're not my thing. I love the fact that they're here because I remember running a comic store and having that guy come in super embarrassed about his pull list because he had to do that. He would always come super late or super early to have that conversation. And I think it's good that you could just get something, get it ordered, get if that's what you're kind of into, do your thing. So I think it's nice. I think it has its purpose,
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. I mean, you and I both do books. We both have books under our titles that are not that.
Sure. Yeah.
I've got steampunk books and medieval books and metal music, and you've got everything, guns, violence, and the F word, and every other pitch that I've heard you say 1,000 times because we've done a lot of shows together. You cover a lot. You cover a broad base. It's just a totally different market. Doesn't mean it's not fun. It's great fun. Misfits Clubhouse, we have a lot of fun doing it. We get to be really silly with it, whereas we don't get to be silly in airs, don't get to be silly in Nocturnia or the other things that we do, especially not in extreme metal. But yeah, this is it's definitely an interesting experience.
So tell us about it. Tell us about these kids, these wonderful kids. I still have it here too. I have the issue 1.
So Misfits Clubhouse is about Mickey, Fairy, Slothy, and Stig, 4 neighborhood kids that hang out in their clubhouse behind Mickey Mayberry's house. They get into all kinds of shenanigans, whether it's there or going around the neighborhood. Their imaginations are so big that they start to affect the environment around them. How they affect it, that well, you got to read the books to be able to see. But one of the great things about this issue is we get to debut a side character named Bruce McTutherson, aquatic investigator. Think about when Fat Albert and the gang had to run back to the clubhouse to go watch the Brown Hornet episodes, and it was very meta, and you had like an episode inside an episode. That's how Bruce McTutherson is. Bruce is super excited, so excited to be in the issue. We got some Bruce pins here. We got Bruce socks, got all kinds of fun stuff. But Bruce McTutherson, he has been, there was a robbery down at Fishback Sports, and he is the investigator that's been put on the case to have to go try and find the culprit. And will his intelligence or his buffoonery be what wins out?
I love that character.
He's been a fun character, and the thing is that the story isn't even out yet, and he has resonated with so many people. We've had so many people like, "Oh, who's cooler than Bruce?" Nobody's cooler than Bruce. We're like, "That's right." Bruce just feels like a character that is going to be more than a side character very quickly. So we'll have to see where we go with Misfits Clubhouse. I mean, we've had a lot of fun with our 4 main characters, especially with Slothy. We keep a sloth with us in some steampunk goggles on our table at shows, and we have to put a little sign on there saying, "I'm not for sale. I'm just the mascot, but you can see me in Misfits Clubhouse." And there are so many people that come up to our table and are totally disappointed because they can't buy the sloth right off our table. That so we know that Slothy's got a future too.
Nice. Oh, it looks like I didn't know you had some of the press work stuff, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, Scout was actually really cool about this. For those that don't know, this is a title that's actually signed to Scout on their Scoot imprint, and they allow the creators to crowdfund their books, 4 to 6 months prior to them being put into distribution. And Scout does a really cool thing called Pressworks, where they actually get the metal printing plates and they cut them into one of a kind, just like a metal cover. But it's all one of a kind. Every page gets 4 different color plates. And so you can get a one of a kind plate out of each of the comics that they do for Scout. And they allocated 10 for us from the issue that Travis just held up that are a part of this campaign as well. So you can actually go in and get a literal one of a kind Pressworks plate from Scout Comics as one of the add-ons.
That's pretty rad, dude.
Yeah, no
That's
doubt.
awesome.
Yeah, I think that's one of the coolest things that Scout does. They found a way to get extra money out of things that a lot of printers throw away.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to be honest. Printers throw it away. They have made it a rare, especially someone like me who loves original art, but I can't afford original art. I can afford a press plate,
Yeah, for sure. And like I said, we really enjoy this. The plates for that one, I believe, came out of the ash can that Scout printed from a story called Morty McFeathers is Missing. Everything in Misfits Clubhouse is all short stories. So if we don't have our page count up, we just write another 4 to 6 page story and get it up to where we need to be. This one has got Beach Bash Bonanza, Old Man Willow, Bruce McTutherson, Aquatic Investigator, and a story called Barrel Peril, which is your opportunity to get drawn into the issue. And one of the cool things about this is knowing that it's going to get distributed by Scout at some point, that if you get drawn into this issue, that means you're going to be drawn into an issue that's going to be in distribution and be in comic stores across the country. So how many opportunities do you get to be able to walk into your local LCS and be like, I need that issue on my pull list? Why? And tell them, dude, because I'm in it. I'm a star. I'm famous. I'm in this issue.
And I do know for a fact that Richard was signing books when his face was in it. So, I mean, you can sit at their table if there's room.
Absolutely. Let me tell you, back in the day, we did an issue of Heirs of Isildur, which is our apocalyptic steampunk title. And we drew a bunch of people in. And my daughter, who I think was like 13, 14 years old at the time, was one of them that was drawn in. And she was helping me out at a show. And somebody came up and bought the issue. And they were like, she's in this issue too. She needs to sign it. So she had to sit down and start signing some issues with us, man. It was pretty cool.
Nice. So we're going to try to get you to 65 backers, 2,212.
That would be amazing. We've had a rough day. We've had a rough couple of days, people doing the end of campaign adjustments and all that. So we'd love to get back closer to those stretch goals. We are 388 and 12 backers away from 2 different stretch goals. That'll give people back some fun stuff. And so hopefully we can get there soon.
Nice. And before we start with Sean, because we're going to go to Sean, we have a special guest, Caleb is here with us today. Excited to see
Hey.
both Caleb and Alan are here representing the people who they mean to be. We're going to need that shark detective here to figure out what's happening.
Yeah, we have the same haircut and we both have bad eyesight, so it just doesn't really work for anybody, right?
Bruce says this looks like the same exact person, just in different lighting. How is he
Yeah.
doing this?
I was going to say, I'm confused. Is there some running joke here that I'm not aware of? Because you look
Yeah.
like that.
Just slightly different camera angles and different lighting. That's the same person.
Yeah, that's all it is.
Yeah, these are the same guy. They're actually just different sides of a mirror. Like they have the same shirt on. I know one looks white and black. It's just color effects
Yeah, that's all. That's all this whole thing is.
and darkening of the room. It's all that is just a filter. It's a great filter
Yep.
between the two. All right, Sean. Let's take a. I was writing Granite State Punk last night, number 3, and
Issue 3 of your one shot.
issue 3 of my one shot. Shut the fuck up, whoever said that. It's a series of one shots. They're very more
Yeah,
inexpensive.
it's the stipulation. I love that.
Right. I like that issue 1 bump. So you don't
Yeah.
get that issue 2 drop because there's all
Yeah, are you going to start labeling them all Granite State Punk finale on Kickstarter?
all of them are the
Yeah.
the end of an era.
And then the ending will actually be the standing ovation.
Yes, there you go. Yeah, and then the encore, and then
Yeah.
we just keep going.
But
The reunion.
I had to put an Uber scene. There's an Uber scene with Zeke in it. And I put your character stuff in there, and then I realized that probably Scout wouldn't allow it, so I had to pull it. But I was like, Sean would allow me to do the cameo. I would do it. I've got demons, I got monsters, like we can do this. But I think Scout would say no, so I pulled it. But I wanted to let you know, my first instinct was to get you part of the universe.
Dude, that'd be rad. That'd be rad. I appreciate just the consideration, man.
I mean, I'll try to sneak it through. I mean, but Matt is a rat, I'll tell you. So we got Matt here. Matt will rat me out. He may not rat you out till it's in print, though, because he's not a prick. So though he may rat me out, he will wait till it's in print.
He would be like, "What is this giant ink spot here? What was that?"
Be like, listen, it was just Caleb Palmquist and Alan Dunford put together. That's all that it is.
That kind of just sums me up. I'm just an ink spot walking around.
There you go.
Yep.
So, all right. So we've got a book. We've got a great book that has been killing Kickstarter, Sean. Like, you've been killing it. You've been working so hard.
This is taking up so much time, but I did like a lot of the stuff was all like pre-game. I spent over a month ahead of time trying to make all the different aspects on how to try to market this book.
So let's tell us about it.
So I drive for Cerber. The basic breakdown is that it's like Uber for the paranormal. But the main character, Jim, he's down on his luck. He's letting some stuff from his past affect him. So he doesn't have a job. He applies for a new job and as a rideshare transportation person. And it turns out that it ends up being for the paranormal, the creepy cryptids that lurk around at night. And on one of the first rides that he gets, it ends up being and there's no spoilers here, or there is spoilers all the way over because this existed before me, but he picks up his dead sister, the ghost of his dead sister to be more specific. And she comes to him and says, you know what? I have a lot of information. You can help me avenge my death. And so he has to not only survive the night, survive his passengers, but he's also looking to avenge his sister's death. And it's a lot of horror and comedy and stuff all mixed in together. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, I've loved this book. It's been super great. I mean, my only issue with the whole book is that we're not getting another Saw because he had to draw this.
Yeah, no, it was. I actually was super stoked to have Kyron involved in this. And early on, when I was in the talks with the original, like the creator of I Drive for Cerber. For those of you who don't know, I actually loved the story when I was on Reddit, and I did some research, so to speak. I busted out my shark skills and researched the pen name out, found the original writer. They gave me permission to adapt it into a comic book, and so it's been kind of cool to watch all of that come along. And one of the selling points with them was that we would represent it in a way that they were happy with, and Kyron's fit the bill with that description like nail on the head. It was great.
Nice. Oh, can you explain that part of it? Because I don't think everyone knows about that aspect of the book, that, the Reddit and all that.
So my oldest son was super into creepypastas like Slender Man and Laughing Jack and a lot of these other ones. And so in order for me to establish, more connection with my kids, I often try to get into whatever they like, whether it's anime or, sports or whatever it is. And in this case, I just started listening and reading and researching different creepypastas because I wanted to have him something that he'd have fun selling with me at conventions. And I came across this story, and I was just super excited because the way that it was told, it fit a comic book format in my mind. And one of the coolest things about it was that I recognized that it already had fan fiction. It already had been put on creepypasta podcasts and audio versions. So I was pretty comfortable that this was a good shot and that other people were connecting with it in a way that I was. And I was like, people give me a shot. They gave me a shot as an inker. They gave me a shot as a creator. I'm going to extend the chances that I got and see what I can do with this other person's property and see if they're willing to let me. And so far, dude, it's really paid off.
Yeah, no, it's been good. It's been good. You've been killing it all the way through. I've been very impressed with your work, man. Here, it's great. It's a huge victory for you, man.
Yeah, really big, especially coming off the partnership of the first 3 issues of Belial, while we're in our breathing phase in between the issues number 3 and 4 with Chuck Pino, as everybody knows. This was kind of a cool little refresher in palate cleansers between those issues.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, that's for you, Matt.
Absolutely, you got the Clubhouse crew and the Spud Squad are definitely the wheels are turning there between us and Brett.
So you are at 6,217, 186, 9 hours to go. So we don't even got a lot of time. Like, you guys cannot mess around on this thing. Let's try to get you 2 more batches, get you 188, and get you to 6,300.
No, it's super rad. Like, I had a lot of fun doing all the advertisements and the commercials for it, and I just really kind of stretched my ability, try to work out a few things, and all of that stuff was super fun. It all really came together, and the way that the book ultimately worked out, both myself, the creator of I Drive for Cerber, Kyron, and now the colorist, we all live within driving distance of one another. So I'm hoping that with this doing so well, I'll be able to get all of us all together and we'll all be able to sign books, which will be a unique treat that I'm trying to offer. Couldn't promise it up front, but it's something I am striving to try to do.
Nice. I was thinking Menage a Trois, but I mean, that works too. That's good. You guys can do that. Signing books is good, but no, that's awesome. I'm happy. I'm excited. We're going to talk about it a little bit more lately. It is in the link. So make sure, by the way, all the things are in the link. If you are on YouTube or Facebook, just scroll up, click on those, back them, so we can talk about awesome stuff. Like, I want to talk about comics. We've got tons of people watching right now. We've got a great look. So make sure you check out all these books. Guys, if you are in the panel, if you want to share your links in the YouTube or on Facebook, now is the time, because there's a lot of people watching. I want to make sure you guys know. And then we've got Alan and Caleb here. Alan and Caleb, how are you? I was invited on a show on Sunday, but nobody sent me an invite. I waited on Sunday.
So here's what I said. I said, we usually record on Sundays. Are you good? And you said yes. So it was okay, cool. So when we have a date, we'll get back.
First, I was talking to Alan because I had that conversation with Alan, not Caleb.
Oh.
So what happened, Alan?
Well, it's like Caleb said. We got a lot of really top name celebrities lining up for our show, so we had to put you in the. We got Tom Hiddleston on next week.
Okay.
And then we can get Travis in.
Right. I should be behind Loki. That makes sense. That's well, I mean, but you had a guest this week, and it wasn't me.
We had our first guest was
we had Scott Wilkie.
Wilkie. Mm-hmm.
That's not even a real person. Who would have the last name Wilkie and like keep it? Like you could just change your last name.
Yeah, this is true. And then we had on a friend of Caleb's, and then some guy you might know named Mike Teener.
Tenor, like he's like a famous tenor, like one of those singing guys.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's nice.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you're watching still. Hold on. There was a comment that I missed. I don't know where you are. Chaos. None of the people who are in our Substack are on here. So I don't know what to tell you. We invited the Substack. I have a very active Substack, and they were really excited about coming on, as you can see. But in the Substack, you can see how many people said they're coming tonight, which is interesting. But you have a podcast? What is a podcast? Do you back it?
You can't back a podcast. You can listen,
but you
to
can
it.
back the books that we always have running.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Between Caleb and I, we always have a Kickstarter running.
Right.
So.
Yep.
We, in fact, Alan's got one coming up. Grandma Chainsaw. Number 2 is coming out. Number 2.
Yeah, I put the link for that in the chat. We're already at 73 followers, which is good because we haven't done a lot of promotion for it yet, thank God. But we're looking to launch that one. I think it's beginning of April.
Well, there's the website for the podcast. We got 3 episodes out so far.
We'll be your guys' new standard for average for what a podcast should be.
Right.
And it's about mistakes in Kickstarter, which I was very confused because I've never made a mistake.
Well, that's what
this implies that I am making a mistake. Like you guys know one, and you'd like to address it with me publicly on air. That's what I feel.
We're just gaslighting you to have you on. This is really just like an intervention for what we think you should be doing.
You made a few mistakes, Travis, and we would like to discuss them.
Yeah.
It's a true story that both of us invited Travis onto our podcast and told him the conceit of the podcast. And to both of us, he said, I can't be on your podcast because I've never made a mistake.
Right. Don't understand. What would I be doing there? Right. So I assume this is some sort of attack on me and my person, which is fine.
Yeah.
I think people need to be called out for their shit sometimes. And I assume if I get on early enough, you won't have a lot of views. Like it takes a while to build an audience. So I'm hoping if I get on early, I can just get that.
Yeah, you can go ahead and just get on at the jumping point where we only have 3 listeners.
Exactly.
We're actually going to do a whole series about all of Travis's books. So next week is actually Cottage Cheese. It's a whole episode.
Nice. So when do they air? Because you're doing weekly. When do they air? When you
Sunday.
Okay, so you tape them and just go automatically up?
Yeah, we try to make it evergreen. So we've recorded I think 6 episodes in advance.
Mm-hmm.
Just because that from where we're not doing like news or anything like that, you can jump in at any point. So if there's a topic you don't care about, like if you don't care about choosing your artist because you already have that on lock, fantastic. You can just go to our next episode, Shipping Ain't Easy, and then see where we screwed up shipping comic books, which has been awful learning experience.
Oh, I've got tons of things if you want to talk about like bad experiences. I've got a dog book that we talked about a little earlier in plot.
Yeah, see, it's just stuff like that.
I have an artist who went to Comicsgate. I have some things I could talk about. Sean would be great too. He's going through one with a colorist right now. I'm sure he would be a great guest. He would love to talk about his colorist blunders.
Yeah, let me tell you, especially when they jump out 1 week into the campaign.
Oh, that's perfect.
Fun.
That's perfect.
Sean, I feel your pain. I feel your pain. Just know that. I'll message you on a PM exactly what's up. I totally understand that feeling, man.
It hurts, especially because like early on, this book was doing phenomenally well, like right in the first week, and I was quickly approaching that funding, and I was like, this is definitely a go. So I hit him up. I said, hey, where's the rest of this stuff? I really need to get it going. And it was like, sorry, dude, I don't have time. I'm tied up. And I was like, oh, so I either have to find colors that can match that fits the budget that's already set, because your budget is set on Kickstarter, and that's something I wanted to make sure I was able to stick to, or go over budget and pay to get all the pages redone that were already done.
Mm-hmm.
It was rough.
It's that pit in your stomach feeling too, right?
Well, I
Like
mean, all this stuff's not cheap, man. And so,
Yeah.
like, if you're like me, you can't tell. Like, I don't have any fancy stuff behind me, so like, it definitely cuts to the quick, man.
So Ben, since you do all the stuff yourself, have you ever not been able to color your stuff and had to get mad at yourself? Or
No, I was gonna say, but I didn't want to be a dick. I said, well, gosh, why don't you just do it all yourself?
Just do what I do. Just do everything yourself.
So much simpler. I mean, I'm kind of a no-brainer.
right, dude, I'm so confused because Caleb is even sending me the grandmother chains. I don't understand.
Dude, real quick, I want to say hi to Timothy. Like, what's up, dude? He's got a phenomenal podcast. You guys should definitely try to get on. Like, the way he has it all set up, it's great. He's amazing. And the fact that he gives you that pregame, the outline to go with, that is a great setup if you're a creator and you have certain interests and stuff. I definitely recommend it.
I will second that, and I've been on the show as well. It's
Tim's the man.
Tim's a good
awesome
dude.
guy.
Tim's a good dude.
Yeah.
Well,
And such enthusiasm for the medium. Which is
I was
nice.
supposed to be on Tim's show, and then I don't know what happened. Either I miscommunicated or he miscommunicated because it never happened. So
He probably asked if you were available on Sundays.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think maybe Tim was on Caleb's show, and maybe Caleb was on Tim's show at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, apparently my lack of excitement, just saying I'm available is not enough. I need
Yeah,
to
we need you. You got to play hard to get, Travis.
right.
This is
I
your
need to
problem.
go. I don't know.
Yeah, I might be busy. It's like, oh, Travis, please come on the show, man.
Right. But yeah, I don't know. That's wild. But I did post Grandma Chainsaw, which I have a pull quote on. So if that's not
Thank
reason,
you for doing that for us. It really meant a lot to me and the team, man. Thank you.
So I actually enjoy Alan's work. And even fake Alan, I enjoy Caleb's work too. When he's not writing about unicorns, I'm all in. When it's about unicorns, I'm less in. But everybody else on the planet is in, so he's not really missing me. So it's okay.
Yeah, he lost the one backer from you, and then gained 3,000 others.
Right. So it's
everybody else.
completely okay.
We call that a give and take situation.
Yeah,
I call it a travesty.
It's a travesty. Oh, you can't use that. I used that one before.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Hey, I think I have somebody else in the background. Do I have someone? I do. How the fuck did Tim get the link? Hey, Tim.
Oh, I figured I would jump in quick and clear the air. But first, I am confused. There is some kind of time warp with Alan and Caleb.
No, this is how they always are.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Okay.
It's the Indie Comics multiverse.
Yeah.
I can dig it. Yeah. And first, I just have a couple of quick comments. I can't stay too long because I got to put my son to bed, but I want to wish everybody luck with their projects. Many of the people in this room I'm friends with. So good luck, Travis, Rodney, Sean, you got to be almost to the end, right?
Oh yeah, dude, like 9 hours. That's it.
I did jump in, but I'll be jumping in for you other guys as well. And by the way, yeah, Travis, I would love to have you on. I wanted to clear the air there. We just got sidetracked with the Tales from the Collective.
Right. Yeah.
So, and for the record, if anybody considers themselves an expert on urban legends, that is our next episode coming up.
Oh,
so it's
sweet.
I got that coming up, and I got top 11 missing persons cases. If you're interested in missing persons, I'm your guy. Come talk to me. And also, I started doing a live Thursday night thing too. If you want to come for a lot, basically, my Thursday night, I'm just trying to copy Travis. Is all I'm doing.
And Tim, we didn't say it. What is the name of your podcast?
Yeah,
It's the top. It's Holden's 11. The easiest way to find it, it's at Timothy Fling. They have what they call a YouTube handle now. It's at Timothy Fling. That's a recorded one. And then on Thursday nights, we do this thing called the Creative Cranium, and it's interviews creators, and we talk about their creative process. And by the way, I had Matt and Rodney were just there. That was a good show too.
All right, we had a lot of fun with that one, for sure.
Yeah, man, you guys are fun interviews, and I just got to give a quick shout out to Sean here, having a record performance on the cryptid video. It's at 226 views. I know that that's not impressive compared to what most people are doing, but for a little guy like me, it's still blowing me away. Look, I'm as surprised by this as you are. I didn't ever think this is what was going to happen. I'm just trying to get people to notice my books, if you understand.
Dude, it was a lot of fun. I think it translated well, and the topic is fresh and fun, and people are always interested in cryptids, man.
Yeah. And Rodney's doing well with the UFO videos. They're up. Yeah, so that one's taken off.
So. I watched Sean. I watched yours yesterday, and I watched ours, Tim, today.
Good. Well, by the way, all creators are welcome. Please don't think that it's like this sophisticated invite process or anything like that. This is all somewhat new to me, so I'm kind of figuring out how this is all done. And basically what it is, it's a weekly show. It's a show about stuff. So like Sean mentioned, we have like a little bit of prep time and whatnot, because essentially I'll be interviewing you about the topics, and there's graphics and music, and I guess I'm like the David Letterman of comics now.
All right. Brett wants to know if you look for more guests, and I think Ben's got 21 days left, so Ben would be a great fit too if you do Zoom.
Yeah, I'd love to be on the show, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Send me a message and I will work everybody in. I have the next 2 weeks are filled, but I could probably get something by the end of March. But if you're interested, please send me a note and we'll start.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've got something going, so it works
working
out.
into the rotation. And my goal is very transparent, and I will just share it with you, which my goal is, and by the way, I got to give Travis a shout out here, because when I was sort of starting out, I'm kind of new, right? So the support of the indie community has meant a lot to me, and they've honestly been pretty cool to me. So I kind of wanted to do something to see if I could help other creators, and this is what I came up with. And, at the end of the day, I'm a writer, so obviously my vested interest is to get people to notice my material. But my sense is that if you're putting positivity out, you're going to get positivity back. So we try to approach these interesting subjects with enthusiasm and with passion. We're not ripping on anything. It's all about, the love of the things that geeks enjoy. And like they are subjects. And what we do is we chat about them. And it's been surprisingly successful. Like I say, to be honest, I'm astonished by the whole thing. So, but really my end goal is, got this new book coming out in March, probably within the next week or so. And it's going to be a big one for me. So
you got a couple of them, because you got Tales of the Collective. As soon as it gets approved by Kickstarter, we're going to launch.
Right, man. And again, thank you so much for that. I'm having a pretty good publishing year as well. I got another thing coming up with Antarctic. That's going to be, I might even announce that in the next day or so. And by the way, I'll show you guys this. You guys that were on the show, you already saw this, but I think you will think it is cool. We're going to start offering these. What they are is they're laser engraved wood etchings. And I'm hooked up with this guy if you guys would like something like this for your Kickstarter. What they are, it is a piece of wood that you can engrave your cover onto.
Dude, that's badass, man.
Wow.
Isn't that sick?
That looks like a steampunk cover. Looks like it'd be super awesome on that.
Yeah, or it would also, I bet, Western comics. There's the cryptid book.
Oh, yeah.
So you got Cadence and Bigfoot and the Mothman. So that's my new gig, man. If you guys want to get hooked up with this fella, it's a company called Nerdables. And the cat is super cool. It comes with a satisfaction guarantee and the whole bit. And what he's trying to do is reach out to the comic creating community. And I said to him, hey, man, it's cool. I know a couple of these cats. I'm going to get on Travis's show and I'm going to give it a little shout out. So,
yeah. Speaking of, who gave him the link? I just want to address that real quick.
I saw it. You know, I heard my name getting mentioned. I was watching the show. No, it is a separate item. It is like it basically is just a piece of wood. And
but what he's saying is, so the metal covers, you may not know it, but you can order the metal covers separate from the comic and attach them yourself. And there's certain comics that, so you can print a comic that's blank. I can show you. So on a blank cover, it'll stick right on it if you know how to do it. So I assume if you put wood glue on, it would work just as much, as long as it's the same size.
Yeah, I suppose it probably would. And one thing about this fella, like, you even go through what I call a couple of proofs. Like, you know, it tends to respond better to black and white line art. And especially if you've got something that's got kind of sort of bold inks and some better delineation.
Had the wood with thing.
Hey, there's Brian. I know Brian. How you doing, Brian?
The wood with a thin, transparent. Yeah, you probably could. CGC may even take it. Believe it or not, they take a lot of weird. They take the acetane covers, so they may. You just have to pre-check beforehand to make sure it go. Actually, you know, they all do it by hand, so they wouldn't even have an excuse there. I was thinking that it'd have to go to the machine, but no, CGC cases are they say they're by a small little Asian hands, I assume.
I don't think there's any shortage of like any kind of indie community people that are not willing to get wood.
Right. It's true. But we have one more Kickstarter to go through, so let's get on to that. It happens to be my wife's. So I'd like to talk about that. We're going to cheat the system. Normally I have to be here, but you know, in marriage, you're equally yoked and you're the same people. Well, I can explain all that biblical stuff, but that'll probably bore you. But it checks out. It checks out. I read it in the book.
I hope you're going to hear the song.
I think I lost a backer. What the frick?
So we've been singing this song when Alan and Mike Tina and I got on a call. We were singing it to each other.
Really?
Because you really earwormed us.
You did do
we,
that.
We were sort of mad about it, actually.
Well, yeah, that's my wife. You know, this is her thing. This is her song. This is she produced it. She did the whole bang. The whole thing was all her, which is pretty cool. Yeah, let's check it out. Let's play the song and
No.
You got to play it for a minute. We got to play it for a minute. Okay. So what this is about is my wife. My son is probably the more important thing to think. My son will only eat cottage cheese. That's it. I don't know why. He only likes to eat cottage cheese. So this book is about cottage cheese. My wife started making up a song one day, and we thought it would be a cute comic book. So one day she's paying for art. And it said art, and then we're going to a sound stage, and we're paying a studio, and we're making a song, and I'm building a website with a QR code. So we're doing a whole thing. So yeah, if you get this, there's only a couple of covers, very, very slimmed down of our normal orange cone stuff. But yeah, what it is you get the book. The book's got some activities, got some fun stuff. It's also got a QR code that'll bring you to a website, and you can download this song on any platform you'd like. You want it on Spotify, you want it on YouTube, you want it on Apple, you want it on Google Play. All those are going to be an option on it. It is a cool, full multimedia thing, and it's a sing-along comic. So as you're going through, the songs will be played as you are going through it. So let's play the song, just a piece of it, just for Alan.
Remy sailing in the ocean, from Cape Canaveral to the Keys. He once drank a secret potion with a pinch of cottage cheese. They went riding in the moonlight, magic carpets in the breeze. Cannonballed into a pool of creamy goodness, cottage cheese.
That sounds really gross.
Cottage cheese.
Cottage cheese. It's all I want to eat. It's cottage cheese. Cottage cheese. Cottage cheese. Every day for breakfast, cottage cheese.
I think that
Grammy's
is enough.
climbing up.
I think you get the gist of the song. I do not personally like cottage cheese, for the record. But yes, this is my book, my wife's book. It is very, very cool. We've got a couple of pledge levels. You know, we got a regular cover. If you guys have kids, you know what Roblox is. This is a Roblox cover. You know, we've, like I said, the song, it'll sing to you. There's a lot of Easter eggs to Orange Cone stuff. This is my dog, John Ralphio, who is around here somewhere. My daughter's in here, both my daughters actually. My mother-in-law, the whole shebang, the whole Gibb family. You get to share all of us in this wonderful. And my wife made me look old for some reason. I don't understand what that was all about. But and you can get all of our add-on stuff. If you don't go to a comic store and you need those coins of Judas that I talked about, you can get them here. All sorts of cool stuff in here. So please consider backing and loving on this cottage cheese. This campaign has been very stressful because I'm used to funding very quickly, and I don't know how to live in this new lifestyle that I have. Hey, Danny. I assume it's me too. Is a hatred of cottage cheese. Any questions about cottage cheese, and why does the Bad Bug Media like to play this? Is this the theme song for Bad Bug?
Unless Mike listens to it. Mike said he sings it all the time now.
That's what Mike said.
it.
He said he's been singing it all the time. He's got it blasting in his house.
Right. He's like, I'm not backing that comic. I'm just gonna steal it like music was meant to be, like Napster before Metallica.
Yeah. Mike's just Napstering your music at this point.
Right. Like I get it. I've been there. I understand. I am also mad at Metallica for ruining Napster.
Yeah.
All right, there we go. We got that. And yes to Running Man. What is that? I don't get that joke.
Running Man meme.
Oh, wait, hold on. I can see the song be used to the Harmed Way Running Man meme. Okay, I can see that. Okay, no,
Cool.
I can't. I don't know what that meme is.
I have
I
a
tried
question about
to
this song, actually. So
Is
this is the type of thing that tends to, every parent I know is plagued by these types of songs.
right.
They're like, oh my God, my kid cannot stop listening to songs, it's driving me nuts. And it's the bane of their existence. And yet you guys have created the next one of these songs.
You're the new Baby Shark. I hope you know that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Dude, I totally plan on letting my daughter listen to it, but also to crank it all the way up when I drop my older one off at school. So
Travis, I think it's cool that he just said that you, as the pastor, has started a plague.
Well, I never claimed to be very good at the
I
pastor
mean,
part, so.
My sister hears that song and I see her just, something happened.
So yeah, let's see if we can get a couple more.
Cool.
We've actually had a good day, believe it or not, compared to what it's been. So I'm very happy today, with everything. We did lose a backer, which is the first, but they also just backed. It's one of those ones who were like, I thought
Immediate
I won.
buyer's remorse. I love that.
Right. Yeah, they're like, I'm gonna have to listen to this song. There
Isn't that
is
the
some-
worst? Like you get so excited, you get a backer, they do like a big pledge, and then they immediately take it away like 20 minutes later.
All right, I'm gonna have to click on this meme thing. I gotta figure out what this is because I don't know.
I bet one of their kids heard it and started singing it all day long, and then the parents were like, "Nope, never mind."
Oh, I think I know what they're. Okay, I know what they're talking about. It's this thing. You guys have seen it, so, especially TikTokers. I think Sean's a TikToker, right?
Yep.
This thing.
Oh yeah.
I think we'll have to make one of those. I think you're probably right. I think that cottage cheese will definitely rock out to that.
That's amazing.
By the way, if you're not aware, I added a new add-on today to Cottage Cheese, which is a very cool add-on. You can get Cthulhu Invades Neverland, the preview, in it for 10
Is that
bucks.
also a perfect kids book to go along with cottage cheese?
Also, actually, we write those books. Believe it or not, those books do not have vulgarity in them. We try.
How's
I
the
don't
horror
know.
element in it?
I mean, I wrote a story for one of your Cthulhu books, and in that story, a woman kicks a dog.
It's true.
So
And I don't know if you know this, Alan/Caleb, but that has been an ongoing thing. And I'll give a little spoiler to Neverland. Cthulhu loves dogs, and he may be acquiring another dog that's very famous in Peter Pan and Neverland. And also, if you didn't get Wonderland, which I think you did, Toto does appear. He's one of the reoccurring characters that continues through. He hangs out with Cthulhu. They're friends. They're buddies.
fun. That's awesome.
Yeah,
I guess I
that's cool.
started something.
Hey, everyone. I got here just in time. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. All right. So we have gone through all the campaigns / the podcast. We're going to take a minute break to go just kind of shoot the shit for a minute. But does anybody have a hard, hey, I got to go. I got bed. I got work in the morning.
I do. I got to jump out. I got to put my son to bed. But just my quick comment. I want to say thanks to Travis for the inspiration. Man, you've just been terrific to the indie community and just about everybody else here I'm friends with. Best of luck with your campaigns. I look forward to talking to you in the future.
All right. Make sure you connect with Ben. Ben, do you have Facebook too, right? We're Facebook friends.
Yeah, we're already chatting. We're going to put this together.
Yeah, definitely.
And like I say, anybody else, just send me a DM. It is. I've got to improve with the scheduling and stuff. Hey, Pat.
Pat Shannon.
Why hello.
The
How
party
are
can
you,
literally start.
I'm
Yep.
good. I'm good. My guys, I had a team here packing some cheeky. It's been the most intense shipping process that we've ever done, but we're done for the night. So I wanted to pop in and say hi to everybody.
Is it a party yet? Yeah, Pat Shan's here.
Bro, now
Yes,
it is.
It is a party.
You're gonna have my spot, Pat. Take off.
I'll take it. I will take it. Thank you, Tim.
See you, bro.
Oh, man, you got a team.
We're gonna take that by
You
force.
could
Yeah.
clearly both be here, Tim. Like
Well, I
you
mean,
were
Pat
both.
did have like 1,500 backers on Cheeky, so
You got a team packing your books.
I do.
That's crazy. That's crazy. I was told I just did my taxes with a tax person, and I was like, I'm thinking about like hiring like a college kid because I'm getting tired of packing up all these books, like to pack my books for me. And she said, if you do that, you might have to file quarterly taxes. And I was like, I don't know if it's worth it. I don't know if it's worth it.
Yeah, I know a lot of people in our industry do file quarterly, but I mean, I feel like I just about make annually. I'm lagging right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm getting close to that point of hiring someone though, because it's man, I hate it. Shipping books is the worst part.
Yeah, man, it's intense. And I just got an email that I don't know how, but Prison Witch is shipping to us about 3 to 4 weeks early. So we're gonna receive that probably Monday.
Wow.
It's making everything very insane.
Wow.
That's awesome. I don't think I got that in physical. I think I was broke at the time. I want that. So let's make that happen, Pat.
I got you, man. I got you.
I do have a question, Pat, since you're on here. Where I saw that you got all these Gemini mailers.
Yes.
Where the hell did you put all of them?
That was me and my boys shipping out tonight. And I'm gonna have everyone's favorite cuck, Armin Nassim, is gonna come and help us ship this weekend as well. Armin's my man. He unfollowed everybody on Twitter today except for me.
I mean, that's loyalty. That's loyalty.
established dominance. I like that.
Yeah, man, let's go. But yeah, Gemini mailers. The website you can order a bunch. But I didn't realize that you can order them in bulk beyond that.
Yeah.
Kat Kalmia sent me a link for super bulk Gemini shipping, which I'm going to be doing now. From now on, it's just, I mean, bro, like storing it is crazy.
Well, that's the thing is I saw how you could order them, but I was like, man, I don't know where I would put them. I'd have to devote a room in my house to them.
Oh, 100%. My office is right now 33% Gemini, and my storage units have them stacked up as well. So it's a lot. Yeah.
That is I was like, man, you could save like 40% if you order or something like that if you order the like major bulk, but it's like, man, I didn't do it this time because I was just scared. I was like, I'm like, I'm gonna have to make couches out of Gemini mailer boxes, and
it's true. No, it's 100% true.
Well, you have a lot of room for break dancing then. So you can kind of stack the boxes that way.
Well, the other thing that you can do is there's a lot of discount codes around, so make sure you always look for those guys.
Sure.
Yeah, I know Joey, he got with Gemini, Joey Galvez from Geek Collective.
Yeah.
And I think like if you use his code, it's like 10% off your order. So I don't know if 10% is 10%, right? Better than paying full price.
It basically pays for the taxes, which
Right.
is good.
Yeah.
Which is I'll take it.
Yeah, I'll take anything, man. I'm tired of paying full price for this crap.
Yeah, the payout is really rough. I'm thinking I have to increase shipping a bit. I've been charging $5 for shipping for a trade.
It's not enough.
It's
not enough right now.
No, it's not enough.
Yeah, that's what I was doing, Pat. And I literally messaged Caleb, and I said, "Hey, I'm actually building a campaign for Grandma Chainsaw 2. I think I have to go to 6." And he said, "Yeah, I would do that at the least for US, even just for one book at this point, because mailing's getting so expensive. Like even one state over cost me like $7."
Bro, I know it's a lot. What do you all guys charge for shipping? If we can break down each one of your shipping costs.
Oh, well, we have an episode for this, Pat. Have you guys ever heard of Crowd Blunders? It is a new podcast. I did 5 for a while, but now I think I do have to go to 6.
I do 6, and I even send media mail because just when you factor in like the bags, the board,
gotta go media,
the Gemini, like it ends up reading pretty friggin' close to 6.
Yeah, 6 is our bottom line. 6 is our bottom line for sure. On the smallest.
It's
packages.
weird what $1 makes, right? Between
I will,
5 and 6.
Yeah, I'm honestly with like trades or like if you're getting a stack of comics, I'm doing 7 because because like I can't be eating that cost.
No.
Just like with the bulk with how many books we ship out, you can't. You have to make sure you're not losing money on the shipping, and I should be. I mean, next time I think I am gonna. I got to look into how I can figure out how to get all those Geminis in my house. I only ordered 3 boxes of them the last time I re-upped because I was just afraid of the shipping. Of the storage. But I think because anything you can do to save that extra money because people seem to be okay though. I'm charging $6. Is anyone charging more than $6 as their base price in this room?
Nah.
No.
Yeah.
Ben,
Normally you can get by with 6 media mail.
Yeah, I got killed on Scarlet Twilight 1 with Canadian and other international shipping because I did my research and it was lower then, and I thought I added on just $1 or $2 to be safe. And I was really low on my base prices for my single issues or my PDFs. So I thought, well, there's some wiggle room there. It'll be fine. And my main goal there was just to build an audience. I wasn't really looking to crush it in terms of making a ton of profit or anything like that. I just wanted to do it, let it scale, make sure I wouldn't like lose any money. But I got killed just from shipping to Europe and Canada. I added, I think, a little bit extra just to be safe, and that was like not even close to covering what it costs to ship to those places. And those ate into costs I didn't have a ton of people in Canada or Europe or Australia, but it ate up a lot of money. So it really got out of control. And that's when shipping costs really just first started to go crazy. And the one thing I'll say is that since then, people have been really understanding. They know, okay, I'm in Canada. It's going to, for some reason, cost an arm and a leg to ship here. But yeah, it gets nuts. And I haven't really gotten into too much of that with the Zoop campaign, but I was about at what you're describing for, I think it was like 6 or 7 for US shipping. And then I was kind of just playing it by ear for the other stuff.
Well, I don't know if anybody in here uses Pirate Ship, but Pirate Ship, if you do ship internationally, you have to actually ask them to give you simple international shipping on your account. And it makes it, this is the first time we've actually gone back to international shipping. I think we pretty much took it off for the last 2 or 3. But now you at least know that most international packages will be like $20 to $22.
Right.
Once you get at I think the cap is when you get to 4 pounds. And I just shipped one just recently that was 3 pounds, 15.5 ounces. and it was $35. And if it would have gone up another ounce, it would have doubled the price.
Well, because at a certain point, at a certain
Yeah.
weight, you can't use simple export rate, right?
Right. So I even told the guys, like, look, I might have to break this into 2 different packages for you, or I'm gonna have to ship it internationally, and only some of the stuff is gonna be bagged, or some of the stuff is gonna be boarded, because a board could be, 4 ounces. And it was like,
Yeah, one thing that I've been offering some people, especially backers who come back. I mean, after a while, you get backers who come back again and again. And I have some backers in like Australia or Japan or whatever. And they say, look, can I like sort of do a donation to each of your campaigns, for like 3 or 4 campaigns, and set books aside for me, and then I'll pay for shipping on the last one. Right. And it's like, but I mean, that only really works for people who are like really like repeat backers, like hardcore supporters. But like I have some people that I have a stack, like almost like a pull list for, right? And then I'm just like, at a certain point they'll pay for shipping, and I'll ship the whole stack to them, so that way instead of paying $35 for shipping 4 times to Australia, they're only paying it once.
Right.
Yeah, well, even in the UK, like if you can get 2 or 3 comics in there, like it's like $15, which is really, really cool. Just the UK, so you can get like 3 comics in a Gemini, with a little bit of swag, and it's like $15, which is super good. Because the minimum at the post office is 25, 27. So like it's you get a huge saving if you can get all that stuff in the pirate ship. Just dope. So we did talk about some stuff. I want to go over everyone's campaign, see if we can mark some people off the list, and then we're going to be bullshitting some more tonight. Talk about comments. I want to know what you guys are reading, so be prepared for me to ask you what you're reading. Even if it's your own shit, I want to hear about it. I want to see what's going on. By the way, Pat, they did track me down at Gangster Asperista, so I now have a copy. That was delayed at my comic store. They couldn't get it. They said it was sold out at the distributor level. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? And they somebody fixed it, and now I have that Gangster Asperista.
Hell yeah, man. That's beautiful.
And when I bought it, they were like, is that one of your friends? That's the comic store, because they know I'm friends with certain people in the industry. I was like, yeah, that motherfucker is one of my friends. He's like, that book is fucking good. I was like,
hey, let's go.
I'll tell him you said that. So
that's beautiful, man. Thank you.
All right, so let's look at the Zoop campaign first, because Zoop, there it is.
I applaud that. Good job. Yeah.
Shakalaka.
No, leave it. Just stop. Stop while you're ahead. That's really good.
Zoop. No. How about I feel a Zoop coming on? Does that work?
I might have to leave. I think I have to leave.
No, Caleb. Let him finish. I like this one.
All right. So we
got one more backer.
We got one that was me. I backed. I'll be honest. I'll be right up front. So we need one more over here. Let's share this out. Tell us about the Scarlet Twilight again for everybody who needs to know. And man, you're killing it, especially from switching from Kickstarter. What was your last Kickstarter at, if you don't mind me asking?
It was less than this. I think I was at just shy of 500 backers for the last one. I was at 495 or something like that. And there'd been a lot of attrition from issue 1 to issue 2 to issue 3, which was a mistake on my part, because I did each of these floppies as a single campaign, which I think would make me a pretty good candidate for the Crowd Blunder podcast. But not really knowing what I was doing, I made each campaign was just one issue, and that's where the shipping became a killer, because people were going to be paying more for the shipping than they were for the books in a lot of cases. But just to back up and give some background on the book, it's a throwback to Golden Age sort of pulpy adventure. The hero is named Captain Lancet, and you see him right here. He's a two-fisted 1930s crime buster, but he has kind of a dark secret that you find out about in issue 1. And through the way the story goes around, he ends up being put in a coma, wakes up 200 or 300 years in the future, about 100 years in the future, and finds that his arch villains have taken over the world and needs to find a way to put it right. So it's kind of one of those books that if you are really into the Justice Society or the Shadow or Batman the Animated Series or Flash Gordon, I think you'll really like this book. And it's aside from those particular influences, it's kind of a re-examination of a lot of those old tropes and ideas you find in those old comics, which is to say, patriotism, the way that American comics repurpose mythology from different cultures is kind of the focus of the series. And hopefully I've managed to build a lot of suspense in how we approach those things. So like I said, if you're looking for a take on those old tropes and ideas, I think you'll really dig it.
Nice. Well, we owe you one more backer, so we're going to try to keep getting that tonight. But definitely check it out. It's also coming in your comic stores at Red 5, which I think is
It
really.
looks like you need to refresh your page.
What? I do? Let me check.
Oh.
Thank you.
Oh, shit.
Here we are.
I can remove this from my list. Hold on. This is a big thing. I got to get big.
Go big mode.
Right here. Here's my list.
Big mode.
Mother F, get that off of my list.
Does that mean he's free? He can now
He is
leave?
free. He can do whatever the fuck he
Okay.
wants to say. He is not held hostage. You can go to bed at a decent hour. And do you know, for you guys who didn't hear it, he writes, inks, pencils, colors, letters, does the whole shebang.
I do, yeah.
Wow.
That's rad.
It's a lot
Very
of work,
cool.
man.
It is a lot of work, and that's one of the reasons it was great to go over to Zoop, because I've said this to a few other people. The problem with planning these campaigns and working on the comic was that I'd be sitting here trying to figure out what shipping and printing was going to be, 4 months from now. And of course, the more I had that changes as it has the last few years, and generally it goes up. And the problem was I every month or so have to go through and really make sure that was still true, those costs. Yeah. Again, I'm then delaying the comic a little bit more. It's delaying, so it's just basically the problem would compound. So it was really great to go over to Zoop, let them handle that side of things, and just basically the last month or so, I've just been drawing and writing, so it's been great to do that. But yeah, I'm doing the whole thing myself.
That's awesome.
Impressive.
Mhm.
And you're a freaking talented artist. That shit looks dope. So
Thanks, man.
that as well. So, Pat, how you doing? I can't hear you.
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I was just checking on you. I like to hear your voice. I like it. Richard's not here to inspire you to order some fried chicken. So
Mr. Richard, yeah, I got had a little pizza delivered here for the night, but I'm gonna pop my link over in the private chat. We're not live yet, but I have a pre-launch page up. It is my highest pre-launch number ever, so I'm very excited about that. I think we're gonna have a crazy launch.
Holy balls.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
nuts.
Let's get that up.
Damn. Congrats.
Let's go, baby. It's gonna be good.
This is pretty much the sequel to Cheeky, right?
Yeah, this is the culmination of there's Thirsty and then Cheeky and Steamy. This has characters from both all put into one. It's the same structure as the previous ones. It is 5 stories about love and sex that in the end they overlap in fun and exciting and funny ways. We have a guest here showing her asshole. Okay, baby, come on. Yeah, it's going live on Monday. If we hit 1,000 pre-launch backers, that would be absolutely insane.
Oh shit! Looks like I didn't click it. Hold on, we got you one more.
There we go. 905. 905. Yeah, I'm excited.
Oh, dude, it looks awesome. You're killing it, and I'm glad. I'm so happy for you getting it out too, getting it out to backers. So people are going to be getting it, feeling confident to back this one. So it's great.
Yeah, it's quicker than ever, man. I have spent the last 7 years waiting for overseas packages, and then I'm paying extra now to go 1 out of Canada for trades, and then 2 singles out of Florida right now. Things are going real quick. I just texted. I made this group chat for Space Between my team so that we can coordinate this and keep it rolling, because we're gonna have at the rate that we're doing this, it's gonna be Steamy packing, Prison Witch packing, Cerulean Dreams packing, Mixed Magical packing. We're going to be functioning as a publisher more and more and more.
Well, that's where that's amazing. But I hear what you're doing, and I see myself heading in a similar direction where I'm spending more time packing than anything else.
Yeah.
And it's when do you? This is a real question, genuine question for you, Pat. When the hell do you write stuff?
Yeah, no, it's true. My goal would be to be writing while everyone else packs. They
Mhm.
call me when they're done with a certain task, and then I'll show them how to pack the next wave. Like for example, tonight we're packing only packages that had both thirsty and cheeky, so they could just see me pack a few and then operate the same way. But there's gonna be packages that have like variant covers, all these different add-ons. I'm gonna have to really make sure that they get right before I feel comfortable doing it myself. But my ideal would be for them to be working on that while I'm in the office creating.
Right. Yeah. Well, that that's also similar to how I feel because I can if I have a campaign and I've got obviously I'm not doing the numbers that you're doing, but if I have 300 packages I need to send out and 100 of them are like just the main book, or like maybe there's like 90 that are like the catch up of like whatever all the issues.
Yeah.
Like I can have someone else like my fiance or like a friend or whatever, I can have them put those together because it's so easy.
100%.
But then you're right, because I've got, I mean, for my biggest fulfillment ever, I had so many packages that were like so many different like extra things, they want this
Yeah.
variant cover, this sticker, this or whatever, and then it's
Yes.
like,
Yeah.
oh man.
And it's true.
Yeah.
I mean, part of the reason that Kickstarter success is such a snowballing effect is that as we go, our backlog increases. So right now, for example, on Steamy, not only am I going to be offering Steamy, I'm going to have, of course, all the previous books that I've kickstarted, and some variants of those too. So it's gonna make shipping very difficult in the end. And my goal is to train my team so that they're as intuitive about packing as I am, and that I won't have to go, all right, so this is Destiny New York 2, this is Spooky Girls, and make sure that everyone already knows all the covers just ingrained in them,
Yeah, just stick with the same team,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
That's like the most important thing. You don't have to
Yeah.
train new people. You want that retention.
Right.
Yeah, well, what I do for like my Cthulhu's and stuff, I have my mother-in-law pack up just the Cthulhu, like just the basic stuff. Here's the basic pack. You
Right.
pack those up, so because a lot of people are getting that, and then I just fix it as I go.
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, that's the best way. Just find some way for someone to help in any way. Like for example, my last shipping before this, it was 3 at once. It was insane. But because there was so much overlap, some people pledged to all of them because they're all in the same universe. I had Destiny New York 5, Destiny New York hardcover art book, and Book We See the Future 1, which is a spinoff of Destiny New York. So what I had Shannon, my editor, do was she created the priority boxes for the big bundles, and she just picked what all goes in there. And then when it's time for me to come and bubble wrap and tape it all up, I already have everything all pre-sorted. So anything that you can do just to make the shipping easier for you is going to, in the long run, help. Hopefully, though, it becomes very intuitive over here because I have a lot going. My goal is to have a campaign per month for myself, and then have one of my team members have an imprint where they run a separate division of my company, and also eventually have a campaign per month themselves.
Wow, that's great.
There you go. Wow.
So let's look at. Hold on, I wanted to look at Rodney's real quick. Just keep moving, then we'll go back to chatting between the stuff. Is that cool?
Yes.
All right, cool. We're Doghouse. We are at we were started at 1,546. We had 2 backers. We picked up 1 backer. We need 1 more though to mark him off the list. So let's share it out. Talk about it, Rodney, one more time if you don't mind.
Okay. There's a video there. You want to play the video real quick?
Sure. Does it have foul language? Because I'm only playing.
No, it's just music and images.
I said if it does, I'm going to play it. Yeah, we can play it real quick. All right, so that was a video. If you like dogs, you like dogs?
You like dogs?
Uncle Blue. Well, that's my credit card information. We don't want to show that. Hold on.
Show me.
I did that once in the stream. That was good.
Yeah, I've done that once where I'm like, I'll back it right here on the show.
Yep.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
no, I don't want to do that. That's
Everybody
not
else
smart.
will with your card.
Damn it, it's stuck on that video thing. Like, that's one of the things I hate about Kickstarter. Like, that video doesn't go away sometimes. It's stuck in like this weird loop. All right, so we saw the video. You want to give it another quick comment about dogs?
Let's talk about a couple of dogs. The two main characters are Shirako and Rubs, are homicide detectives, and they reside in New Ground City. And the doghouse is the local bar. It's just south of the Tuna Tunnel, and they're called to check out to the local bar to investigate the death of the owner, Eddie. The two prime suspects are Sin, Eddie's longtime friend and bartender, and Fleeby, his side piece. So the story centers around the last 48 hours of Eddie's life and the questioning, Shirako and Rubs questioning everybody in the bar and all the strange happenings and stuff that have been going on in the bar. And they link things together and try to figure out who done it. So it's good ornery, adult humor, fun, kind of Howard the Duck meets with Mutts. So if you're into murder whodunits and goofy slapstick humor, this is right up your alley. A lot of sexual innuendo and stuff like that. It's not lewd. There's no foul language or nudity or anything like that. It's just a lot of sexual innuendo and a lot of good goofy fun. I had a lot of fun writing the book. I'm excited for everybody to read it because I sat here and laughed myself silly writing it. And was told no many times with scenes that no, you can't write that. No, we can't put that in the book. So,
you should only write the scenes that you're told no to. That's the way
Unchain me, woman. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. I think you guys will really enjoy it.
The link is in the comments if you are on Facebooks and stuff. Well, I guess the Facebook one is struggling here. Hold on, let me get that on. But I still owe you a backer, so we got to keep working for you here, Rodney.
Right. That sounds good. Steve Michael Lanning is the artist on it, and I wrote it, and I'm doing the colors on it as well.
So, but we will get that going. We got that link going, and everything is good. All right, so go. What's your question, Alan? You had a question for Pat. You're picking his brain before we go to Matt.
Oh no, I didn't have any. I didn't have any questions. Sorry. I was busy reading this little book right here. You asked what we were reading. I don't know if you guys have heard of this book called Pocus Hocus.
That's a terrible title. Who on earth would ever make something like that?
I don't know. No, I didn't have any questions for Pat. I'm just enjoying the conversation.
All right. I like that now I have trained you to respond every time I say Alan, and Alan doesn't. So that is super amazing. So Kyron's got a question before we go over to Matt. Anyone have a suggestion on vetting artists? I'm ghosting on 2 artists now for Zombie 4. The first question I'm going to ask without being a dick is the page rate good? Because that's one of the things I find that, you got to make sure your page rate is at least fair. I don't know what your page rate is because I find a lot of times when I investigate ghosting, it tends to be a page rate issue, or someone was paid too much in advance and then they ghosted you because you paid too in advance. So it's one of the two. Either you're paying them too little, or you paid them too much early on, or you're Ben and you did it all yourself. It's one of the three. Ben, do you ever ghost yourself?
It's happened a few times, but we were able to work it out. Fortunately, yeah. But yeah, no, I would say the page rate is the big thing, and I also would say, when they're, let me think about how to say this, because people are really temperamental, and that's something both parties could be at fault. I'm not really sure. But I think generally, in addition to the page rate issue, just scheduling is a big issue. If you're a working artist, there are times where you're really busy. There are times where you have downtime and you need to fill it. And that's where you maybe do your work that's not as high budget, which comics can tend to be. So communication and scheduling and being considerate about that is also a big factor, I think, in making things. It's not going to iron out every problem, but it might make things more likely to avoid some of the road bumps you get there.
They've been paying whatever their page rate is paid up front for it.
Yeah, that's going to do it.
Weird. Any other suggestions?
No,
I think a lot of times,
yeah.
if you can get them to pay after a couple of pages instead of paying beforehand, if you're only paying every 2 to 3 pages, they have an incentive to actually get the job done. And we've actually had some good artists that have worked with us on that way, because if you pay them too much in advance, like you said, Travis, they don't have any incentive to work because they've already got your money. That's when you find those knuckleheads that'll be like, I'm going to go take the advance from 5 or 6 different people and are never going to get caught up. And I know a lot of us have been caught up with those kind of guys. But sometimes you do everything right and you just can't get them to pony it up. And they don't understand, for the guys that are here, other than Ben, that when you're the one who is paying an artist, they're the ones that are making money off of the project. You're not making any money. You're having to pay money out of pocket and then go hopefully make the money back at some point. We're not made of money. We can't just go to the money tree and pay them whatever. We have to negotiate sometimes. It's tough. But we need them to also meet their deadlines. I mean, it's there is no easy way to do it. But we've had issues where artists are just late just because they become undisciplined, and we're like, dude, you're making our Kickstarter fulfillment date late. You're making us miss shows where we can't now sell the issues to make more money to pay you the next time. So I don't know if there's really a good answer. It's just kind of have to just look up the artist you're working with and make sure there's not any kind of bad press about them. Because if they have bad press with somebody else, they're going to have it with you too.
Yeah, and it's really a lot of it's trial and error, because we've that was a problem with us early on. Now it's 5-page increments. Give me 5 pages, you get paid, and so on and so on and so on. But early on, it was a struggle to find reliable folks.
I mean, not to interrupt. I think it also depends on 2 things. One, what reputation you have as a writer, and second, what your relationship is with the artist. Because I'll tell you that with someone I've never worked with before, who I don't know what the reputation is, maybe I would do something like 5-page increments. But I have the artist I have for Vampire Detective in Space. I pay him for the whole issue up front before he draws a single image. But we've been working together a long time, and I trust him. But for most people, I pay half up front and then half when they finish it. So, there's like an incentive for them to work on it. But I mean, like about building relationships and trust. Because when I started out, I couldn't even get an artist to sign up for a whole issue, because who was I? It didn't matter how much I was paying. And so, building trust and the other thing is work with people who've already done this. I think that there's an impulse to be the person who discovers a talent. But the other thing is, I go on Kickstarter and I find other people who are already doing what I want them to do. I mean, I have literally tried to poach Pat Shand artists before and failed, for the record.
What the fuck did you just say?
Hey, I've met Pat Shand in person, man. You don't want to mess with him, dude. He will knock you out.
It's true. I'm about it.
One thing is about artists that my wife is a college professor and teaches animation and game design, and it's kind of a parallel field to what I do. But I've said to her, well, I have no skill at teaching in any way, shape, or form. I've said, gosh, I wish somebody could teach soft skills for artists, because artists are not good at communicating schedules, budget, what they need, what understanding your needs as well. And that's something I've been really lucky to be in, like graphic design and illustration stuff and animation through most of my career, that I got a good education in that. I knew how to like say no to people politely, or to say, well, I can do this, but it's got to be this way. I think a lot of artists don't have those skills, or were never taught them. So they have a lot of trouble communicating. And I think to kind of spin it around, looking from, you guys are all writers, from that angle, you probably need to delve, not that you should have to, you really shouldn't, but you probably need to really get in there and communicate really well and make sure you're getting the right answers from them, because artists are just unfortunately not good at telling you what they need. It's perplexing to me, because I can say, gosh, if you give me the script by July, I can work on it from July to August. But if you wait till September, it's going to be really tough for me to get you those pages on time. And people are not good at getting that across. So I think that there's probably, you can't quite, there's probably a rudeness factor there and saying, like, do you really mean this? But artists are not good at expressing that. So you kind of have to really go the extra mile, unfortunately, in communicating, to kind of make sure you're at least minimizing some of those problems.
Well, do you guys feel like the artist community sometimes may cause some of the problems that are there? And what I mean by that is, there's not a whole lot of industries where you can be an entry-level guy that comes in to do the very first thing. Like if you're a plumber, you can't be like, I'm going to go work on my first house and expect them to give me $100 for the job. But you can go onto forums all over the place online, and a guy's like, hey, here's my first page that I've drawn, and it may look decent. And he's like, I'll draw it for $20. And everybody comes in and they're like, you shouldn't do that. You should do your page rate's too low. You got to be charging $100 a page. Who does that? What other industry does that? And they don't have any capital behind them. And so I think sometimes that the more experienced artists need to understand that younger artists and newer people to the industry need to kind of pay their dues a little bit, because they don't have that catalog that should deserve a higher page rate.
Well, I don't want to, as the only artist here, I guess, kind of, I don't want to sell out my group here.
Well, Rodney's an artist. Rodney knows what's up. Rodney draws.
Okay, yeah. But
Caleb draws. He's just being shy about it.
Okay. Yeah, it's tough to make a living doing art, because the time investment is so steep. There's also a lot of things in scripting that you can get a script that makes sense, or that you have flexibility with the writer to say, hey, I can do it exactly the way you told me to do it. And it's going to take me a long time. It's not going to be that dynamic. But I'll do it. You're the boss. And then there are ways you can give artists flexibility if they can do things faster. And that could be just due to their particular skill set, strengths, or just objectively it's easier to do. So flexibility comes into play there too. But it's tough to make a living as an artist. So I think that there's just a lot of road bumps on this particular route as far as like comic book collaborations. And like I said, I think artists do have some real weaknesses in that they are not good. And I've worked with a lot of artists, in not even comic artists, just in advertising and stuff like that. Artists are just, you can't take some of these people to meetings. They will say weird things. They don't know how to do that exactly. So it's tough to communicate when there's a real imbalance there. And then there's also an imbalance in time investment, because you guys, your writing generally is a lower time investment. The art stuff takes forever. And then artists can be kind of strange in how they approach things. They can be perfectionists. They can be, and it's not even always better when they spend more time on things. So the only way I guess I can say to help out with that is to just, I guess, sort of radical empathy is maybe the term that comes to mind, is like be over. And again, not that you should have to do this, because it is a business transaction ultimately, but if we're looking to iron some of those things out, just be like, dude, is this really enough time, or is there something I can do to make sure we meet this deadline? And I think the 5 pages at a time is perfect. In fact, that's what Marvel and DC, I believe, up until 10, 15 years ago, used to do, was 5 pages you get paid. So you were generally getting a paycheck every week or every 2 weeks, which was good for artists as well. Now the payments are pretty delayed, I believe. But
It's
Yeah,
it's a
those-
reasonable amount of work and to
Yeah,
expect
yeah.
in a short period of time, and like you said, they're getting a consistent paycheck. So
Yeah,
that's-
I mean, and
we
that's
have five
that's huge for me. That would be like, yeah, awesome. I would totally be okay with that as long as I could get you 5 pages and then I get paid. Like for me, that would be enough.
Yeah.
But again, with artists, like you said, the track record is huge. You've got to show you're a pro. You've got to show you can do this stuff, and you will get it. Not that everything will go perfectly. There can be delays, or you could be, if you're sending somebody a script that's like page 2 and 3, they're a circus. There are people in the background. Let me tell you what each one's doing.
Yeah.
That's going to take longer, of course. But yeah, I think there's some back and forth there. I definitely see the frustration.
So I guess my question for artists, and maybe Pat and Alan and Caleb and Matt, actually probably all of us in the bottom rows has this question. Do you guys know when we're broke, and is that why you work so hard when we're broke? So because I find the less money I have in my bank account, the more pages I'm getting in. Versus if I have a bunch of money, nobody's fucking working. Is that, you guys feel that, Sean, Pat?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so crazy.
Yeah, it's weird how that works, isn't it?
Do you guys know? Do you guys have a meeting?
I don't know. I don't think Pat knows. He's Pat. That's 6-figure Shand you're talking to.
I
He
was gonna
doesn't know
say
what it's
that.
like to have.
Hey,
Well-
if Pat needs money to pay artists, all Pat has to do is hit the launch button on Kickstarter, and it literally prints money with Pat Shan's face on it.
Well, I do appreciate it. What I do is I put the money that I get all directly into the future titles in the line. So sometimes, I have been like, oh, I need to calm down and stop thinking about 2024 and focus on more of the new ideas coming up too, So yeah, I feel that for sure. That's how I think that's how a lot of comics companies in general get into cash flow problems too, is that a lot of times they're waiting for people to pay them for certain things and think that the money was going to be there, ends up being late, and the artists who they thought were going to be a bit slow are kind of trucking along now. There are publishers though that do it. They have a way around it where, and this is controversial because not many artists like this. Some companies have it where the artist or writer or whoever freelancer it is gets paid a certain amount post publication. So no matter when it is, they've guaranteed that they're getting their money first before paying it out. So that's a way to do it, but I know that some people don't like that.
Okay, see, Kyron admits we do know that. You guys do, man. Like every artist that I work with, like the minute I'm broke, I get pages, and you haven't messaged me for months, and you're like, "Here's 17 pages I've been working on in the background."
That's how I confused Kyron, because he penciled the iDrive for server. He agreed to work, and then he expected to be paid when the Kickstarter was going, and I ended up paying him as things were coming in. He's like, "Hold on, I totally threw him off his game."
How many credit lines y'all got? All right, so I heard good news that Rodney. I heard you're good, right? You got your next backer.
We got our second backer. Yes.
Let's see where we're at. Let's check. Oh, Steamy note still at 905. Wait, that's not what we're talking about right now. Sorry.
No, Steamy's at 907 because I followed it and so did you. I think you got to refresh
Hold
that.
on, we got to refresh that. Hold on. You're right. Hold on.
So you told me to remind you on the live and not in private, so I'm reminding you now.
909. No, we're doing good on Steamy. We're doing good on Steamy. All right. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the dog. The dog house.
I do. I'm super excited about this. I think I gotta bounce, and I think Caleb over there, other Caleb also has to bounce. He's got a job to go to in the morning, and I got beauty sleep to get. But it was good to see all you guys.
Good night, Alan and Caleb. You guys sleep well tonight. Cuddle.
Oh, never not. Yeah, no. I was actually about to message it on here. If we could show the Grandma Chainsaw pre-launch.
Just give me a second. Let's get through Rodney's first.
Yeah, I want to do that. I didn't know Caleb was going to do that.
Oh, I was speaking for you. We are the same person.
Listen, we'll talk about this when we get home.
Yeah. All right, everybody have a good night.
You got 50 night. Good night, Alan, Caleb.
Amen.
Got that. Let's see what Grandma Chainsaw is real quick. We can do that. And then
We
check-
got I got like 4 or 5 since being on here, so thank you guys.
Yeah, the ones that are free, they tend to not take as much time as the ones.
Yeah, it's awesome,
It's
right?
so
You
weird.
just got clicking a button. It's great.
Yeah, we got 70. Well, do I got to refresh it? Let's see. Oh,
Yay.
77. Yeah, okay. We're doing good. We're doing good. I also just posted it on the Twitters because, unlike you, I care about our relationship, our friendship. I don't want to let you down like you are willing to do to me. Things like that, Caleb.
Oh, okay. Well, thank
Speaking
you
of
so
Caleb,
much.
right? Not Alan.
Oh, yeah, I'm Caleb now. Hang on, let's go.
But, yeah.
There we go. All right, we're good.
And then Pat says he's got a dip. He's too good for me, is what he said.
Okay, Pat. Well, Grandma Chainsaw's done. You can take off now because we'll just leave together, and I'll see you at home too, Pat.
Oh, very good.
All right.
Very good. Yeah, guys, thanks for letting me dip in here,
Yeah.
Travis.
See you guys.
Man,
Take it easy, guys.
yeah, I'll be doing this. If you're going to be doing this for the next few weeks, I'll be here. I'm launching Monday.
Yeah, every Thursday I'm going to be doing it because I have 2 more Kickstarters that are launching, and I still got that cottage cheese, man. Like, we got to get that cottage cheese money.
I got to do it.
I don't think it's going to make 6 figures, Pat. Like, I'm just.
You know what though? Seeing all the all ages campaigns, it makes me excited to dip back into all ages myself. I know it's a struggle on Kickstarter, and I talk about how it's a struggle, but I love to do it. I really enjoyed my first. I did 3 all ages campaigns and 1 YA, and I really want to keep doing both. So yeah, you guys are inspiring me as well.
Yes. Danny, like, don't spoil my shot. Don't spoil my shot. He wants your son together. I will tell you, you got a minute, Pat? Yeah. Danny and I talked about a possibility of getting you in one of the Tales of the Collective for 2024. Okay. That would include you flying to Florida, hanging out with us, doing a whole thing. Yeah. And we'd love to have you. So we may have to figure out if we can do that.
You know, I'll be down, man.
So Danny would like that. That's what Danny's requesting. So Danny, he's in. So we just got to swing him out. And remember, when we first started talking, there was some Pokemon boxes that were involved. So just don't forget where we started, Danny.
That's what I'm saying. Thank you. Especially with the new Scarlet and Violet series coming out, I'm down to open these bitches. Okay.
I'd love to jump on the future live session and promote the spoken. Brett, you can come on now. I can give you the link. But yeah, I will see you later, Pat. I love you. If I see you other place on the internet, though, I'm going to be heartbroken.
Bro, I'm dipping in and out, but I'm not going there right now, but possibly later. I got to do some more shipping, some writing. But thank you guys.
All right, see ya. Bye.
Peace.
Later, dude.
So Matt, where are you
man.
at? Have you made any money tonight?
Actually, yeah. So technically, we have, which is good. We are still down from where we were when I went to bed last night. But you know what? That doesn't matter because we are more than we were when we got on the show, and that's great. I know Ben. I know you jumped in. I appreciate that, my man.
Yes.
We are now 10 backers away from a stretch goal, and we are $366 away. But here's the thing. If everybody else is going to have their videos get played, you need to go drop our 55-second video on there that we also have new music. Yes, you got to cross this off, man. We got our video there. We got music. There will actually be a full set of lyrics on the campaign video on this too, man. We just don't have it yet. I just don't have time to put the lyrics on her yet, but I will have the full set of lyrics recorded at some point.
All right, yeah, let's get on that. Let's get through Sean's, and then anybody has to go. If you need to go, I'm probably good for another hour. But if you need to go, you need to go. That's cool. Like, I totally get it. It is friggin' 12, so I get it. But let's show this trailer.
Mickey, Fairy, Slothy, and Stig are back.
In Misfits Clubhouse, sharks, dragons, and little red wagons. Our lovable quartet knows how to turn anything into a big adventure.
And this issue is no exception.
They have a face-off with the ever-feared Old Man Willie.
There's a speech bash bonanza in their future.
And we also get to meet for the very first time their favorite TV hero,
Bruce McTutherson,
Aquatic Investigator. This campaign will have multiple collectible covers by awesome artists.
And as you'd expect from us, with Zeke swag. We hope you'll stick around.
Come on in and hang out in the clubhouse.
Join along in the shenanigans.
Well, there we go. Matt, you are off the list. We've got you marked off the list. You are moving forward. I'm very happy, very proud of you. I know that kids' books are very different, but they're fun. They're so fun.
Yeah, they're always fun.
And kids deserve books.
Yeah, and you asked me, you asked earlier, what are people reading? I will tell you, it's also going to be a slight shill for me, but I am actually reading Miss Medusa's Menagerie from Lori Foster over at Unlike the Hero Studios. And why is that? Because we did a 4-part cross promo with Lori and with Skeletal Press and with Charlie Stickney. And if you were a physical backer, you actually got this exclusive print that's actually a metal print. And there's probably only 20 or 25 of these in existence. And there's characters from all 4 stories. The one at the top right here, that's Syndrome from Heirs of Isildur, The Perilous Prospects, which I've got the brand new books here, which are getting ready to ship next week. We'll be actually shipping out the physicals on all of those that are all fun, perfect bound books, as you can see. But yeah, so we just got these in, and Lori was taking care of all the metal print fulfillment on this campaign. So very happy that she actually took care of that. Charlie supplied the artist, and we had a great time doing that. It was a fun 4-part cross promo, and really glad those things are finally going out. But yeah, Miss Medusa's Monstrous Menagerie, definitely not a kid's book. Definitely the furthest thing from being a kid's book. But it is a well illustrated, well written book. So if you haven't gotten yourself one of those, you want to go pick it up.
Nice. That is awesome. So Sean, how are you? Are you making money tonight in these last hours, my friend?
Yeah, dude. 8 hours to go, and it's looking good. We went up quite a bit, actually. I feel.
Yeah, let me check it out. I lost your link somehow, so it's going to take a second. Oh, and we got a special guest. Tom from Big Dog Inc. is coming to hang out with us.
What's up, guys?
How we doing, buddy?
What's up, Tom?
Tom is seeing how we do things.
Another guy that prints money just like Pat Shand.
Oh, geez, no. None of us are in the Pat Shand level here. No. Pat, God, I got to bow to Pat, man. I mean, he has really, he's really done something over there. So all hail Pat. Everybody pay attention to what he's doing, because he's doing it right.
All right. Dude, that is some significant big jump. We had you at 6,217 when we started, 186 backers. You're at 189 with 6,244. I can mark you off my list.
That's right, dude. That's been awesome. Super rad.
Nice.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome. I'm so happy for you. Let me make sure we share. Even though you guys are fun, though, let's share it out. We still got tons of watchers, guys. We're still like 14 watchers back here, which is crazy. Like earlier, we were at 20 and 30, but being at midnight with 13 watchers is fucking awesome. So thank you guys who are watching. Like, please, you guys are awesome.
And Sean, I got to say, man, I when I watched your podcast with Tim, I went to your Kickstarter and I was like, oh man, this is sweet. Just the concept of the paranormal Uber driver. I was like, my mind just started going crazy. And I was like, okay, I'm in.
It's so fun.
Great concept.
One of the really cool things that we were able to do was, like I said, it existed before me.
Right.
And that means that there was audio available. And I reached out to Nature's Temper. He has a YouTube channel. He reads creepypasta stories and stuff like that, and he was willing to give me the audio for the comic book, and that allowed me to do the audio visual version of the comic.
That's
so paying like homage to the people that came before me. I get to present the original prose version of the story with an audio by one of the people that was doing it before me, and then we're pairing that up with the digital version of the comic book without any of the word bubbles, so they can follow along and get the artwork. So all 3 mediums coming together as one, I thought was a unique opportunity that I got to do, that really was kind of a gift, because that means, I mean, obviously I didn't have to pay for it. It existed before me,
right?
But so much fun.
Yeah. It looks, I can't wait to get it. It looks like a blast.
Well, this one's definitely like the introductory to like a lot of the main characters. Issue 2, because this is part 1 of 2. So issue 2 has a lot more characters in it, which will be a lot of fun. And but if you like creepypasta, like if you're familiar with Slenderman or if you know what like a Kelpie is, I know if you listened to that podcast, I went into kind of what a Kelpie was. It's a lot of fun to kind of tap into.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I wrote a. I don't know if you know Sean and Stephanie Forney, but they did they have a character called Scarlet Huntress, and she hunts werewolves. She's a descendant of Little Red Riding Hood, and they did a field guide. It was basically her journal of all the cryptids that she's encountered. And I wrote 3 stories in there, and one was the frogmen, the Loveland frogmen.
Nice.
Yes,
that's awesome.
Yeah,
it was weird how that kind of paired up. When he put that on the list, I purposefully like didn't mention that I had lived in Loveland before.
Yeah,
and so I thought that was a fun little nugget of information. He was surprised. That was pretty rad.
Yeah, I live in Cincinnati, so I was very familiar with the area. So
oh, there you go. Right on, dude.
It was fun. I turned it into a comedy. So
that is awesome. I am happy. You're killing this campaign. So good. Kyron's got a message for you. What does he say? Sean was so great to work with on this book. He pushed me to level up my artwork. That's awesome, man.
Nice.
Yeah,
I got to say one thing I like about Sean. I'm going to blow a little smoke up your butt right now. Before we got on, he talked about Indie Comic Conspiracy, and really making sure that he keeps the days on track with what the topic is, and one of them being Just the Tip Tuesday. And the couple of years you've done campaigns, I've seen you really pay attention to the tips that have been put up there and put them into practice on your campaigns, all the Belial campaigns, making sure you're not doing the same thing every campaign and trying to push yourself. And when I saw the stuff you did for Cerber, I'm like, man, this campaign is going to do really good beforehand, because you really put a lot of that pre-work into it. There was a lot of original content. There was a lot of stuff. It wasn't just back this campaign, give me money, give me money. You were like creating this whole world with all this content that was already out there. And so it was like, I was like, man, this is going to be a no-brainer of a campaign. I'm really glad to see that this is one of your best campaigns. Is this your best campaign or one of your best?
No, it is the best campaign so far. And as far as dollar amount, I know I'm probably a little bit shy of the backer count, but I'm totally fine with it. This is way better than I thought it was going to be, honestly, with a new title, with a different kind of subject matter. I'm not always in the spotlight, and so a lot of that reach is kind of hard, but I think there was enough marketing and stuff that was available that people were able to recognize and latch onto, and using a lot of the framework that like Uber and Lyft actually use for their actual like ads and stuff really helped me build the framework to make it feel as if it could be like a real business. And it was a lot of fun to kind of bring people along, because I want people to feel connected to the story, not just to tell them a story, because I want them to be along, pardon the pun, for the entire ride. So
hey, that's a good, I wouldn't even say the pun. That's a great pitch right there. Come along for the ride.
Tom, do you have a pre-launch that you can send me in the privates for Saturday? Yeah, send that over. So we're going to talk about yours in a minute too. And then the last one that's on my list, and I hit my goals as well. We killed it as well. Apparently that cottage cheese has been rocking and getting. Where did I put it?
Well, while Travis is pulling up cottage cheese, let's not be lost in the fact that Travis just asked Big Dog Inc. to hit him in the privates on a live stream.
Yeah, it didn't sound right when I heard it.
Yes, hit him in the privates.
When I look at him and I look at his little ears, I just assume I'm talking to a girl on TikTok, a little cosplayer. So I apologize. I just made a mistake.
Do you want the OnlyFans link too, or you just want the?
We'll save that one for private. We got Brett's going to join us. Late nights and Brett. But yeah, I made my goal, so I can mark myself off. So thank you guys. We did great. I was at 151 backers. We wanted to get 53. We got 56. You guys killed it, guys. Thank you so much. for that, for Back in the Cottage Cheese. I'm going to share that. But guys, I know it's late, and I can see it in some of your eyes. Some of you guys got to go. So who's going to go?
I gotta go. I got work in the morning, man. It's been a blast. You guys all kick ass, and like honestly, you all serve as inspiration, like on one hand or another, whether it's backer goal, number, level, stories told. I know I've jumped on probably at least one campaign of each one of you guys, which is pretty rad. So sharing this space with you guys is an honor. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on, man.
No problem. Who else needs to go? Rodney, is that you?
Yes, I want to echo Sean's sentiments. This is a great community. I know a lot of you guys. Some of you guys have met for the first time tonight, but this is great. Getting on here and talking, shooting the shit about the business and the stuff that we do. It's great. I love it. So thanks for having me on, and thanks for the couple of backers we got on here tonight. That's awesome. And I'll see you guys in the funny books.
All right. Who else?
I gotta roll as well. Ben, definitely glad to see you're killing it on Zoop. I know that it's a difficult platform, a different kind of platform, and to see somebody learning how to really get their money's worth out of it it's good for all of us. Big Dog Inc., man, you're always putting out quality stuff, man. Always good to see. I think this is probably the first time we've been on a show together, and it's for like 35 seconds.
Yeah. We'll do it again. We'll do it again.
Yeah, we'll do it again. Especially going to be, we got one of our different titles out that's going to be a lot more closer in genre. And then Brett, we got a ship name. You got your Spud Squad, and we got the Clubhouse crew. We're gonna have to find a way to get Bruce McTutherson and Dust Bunny Mafia together.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah, I got to get on out of here, man. Thanks a lot. Hope you guys will go up to tinyurl.com/misfits2. We need you to join the Clubhouse crew.
Sounds good. You good, Ben? Or you taking off?
Yeah, I'm good for a while. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Good night, guys.
See you guys.
See you guys.
Have a good night.
Better.
All right. So down to 4, but you never know who's going to jump on. Pat Shan's got the link. Charlie's got the link. So how are you, Tom?
I'm good. Yeah. I didn't realize you were going to be doing a super show tonight. So when you kicked me the link earlier, I was like, you've got like 30 minutes left. I'm not going to like barge in on 10 guys.
No, this is what we do. So the way I do a show is I don't bullshit around. Like I hate these shows where they're just like, here, we're going to scroll through it about a half hour later when nobody cares, when nobody's fucking watching your show. Like I don't do that. So we write down at the beginning of the show what everybody needs. We try to get them at least 2 backers or whatever, depending on how much the viewer count is. And I'm going to stay on until I get those fucking backers. Like, that's what I do. So I'll stay on and I'll talk and we've got an audience and we're good. Actually, we had a good night tonight. Like I did this last week and there was like nobody watching. It was like 3 people. Tonight we had a good night. It's all hit or miss depending on the night and stuff. But that's what I do for this show. And then I got another show that we talked about. And what that is basically I go over your career. Because believe it or not, Tom, I actually have followed your career for a long time. I read a lot of your stuff early on. I don't read a lot of it now, but back in the day when you were
back in the day, you read all the garbage, man. I'm way better now.
Well, and you're really good. One of the things I think I was really good of you, I think I backed Ursa Minor, and like I was like, oh, this is the first issue I could get on, and I'm like, issue 4, and I went back, I was like, oh, he's really good at masking that it's a late issue, even though it's clearly there, like, but it's not there as well. Like Minor clearly labeled.
Yeah, little tips and tricks. We'll teach you how to do the crazy stuff. Yeah.
It's a neat trick. I like it. A little disappointed when I got it, but a good trick. So how are you, Brett? Brett, you were welcome here the whole time. I sent the link in the group.
I wasn't sure. And you had, like Tom said, you had 10 guys in here at one point, and I'm like, I'll wait. So
well, I'm not afraid to spend money on actually paying for StreamYard. I know that seems to be a problem for a lot of people. So they can only have like 4 spots, but I actually pay for it. So we got, and in fact, this is a weird trick that I can do. My other thing that when the comic level up book thing that I do, that's on Restream, and we found a way. If I add Restream on here, I can actually double it. It's wild. You don't want to do it, but you can. So I can actually get like
chaos
here. It's chaos. It's not worth it. So let's talk to Tom first and see. So you've got a pre-launch up, and you're launching on Saturday, is what you said?
Saturday at noon Eastern time.
Okay, let's look at what you got and tell us about this series that has gone on forever. You know,
Yeah,
I think
forever.
everybody has picked up one of these at least in a dollar bin, if not on the Kickstarter.
Yeah, this is 13 years now for Big Dog Inc. as a whole.
Okay.
13 years for Penny for Your Soul. 13 years for Critter. Those are the two books we launched in 2010. So what we're doing is we are doing a remastered version of Volume 1. Volume 1's been out of print for like almost 6 years, and it's been hard to sell other books when you don't have the first one. Now, digital, of course, has been our savior. If they bought the other books, we just kind of kicked them in the digital version, at the cons and so on. But it's like, it's time to just get this book back in print. And a couple of years ago, on our 10-year anniversary, we did a hardcover remaster of Critter, which went over really well, and it got the book back in print. We did limited edition hardcovers. So we're doing the same thing here. We're doing the original 7 issues, completely remastered, meaning I'm going back through the original scripts and fixing this mess that I created 13 years ago. So you're going to get a cleaned up version of this book, not cleaned up in the sense of it's not an adult comic anymore, because it kind of is, but just dialogue and grammar and problems, because we never had an editor back in the day. To be quite frank, I never had an editor until we got really to like Volume 2. And so it was basically me and my then wife, just like, I think this is fine, like whatever. Plus, it was my first script that I had ever written, really, right? So even then, within the context of the script, I was like, dude, I don't know what I'm doing. I think this makes sense. And I have to give, I actually have been going back through the original volume that I've got here, kind of like seeing what I did, comparing it to the scripts. And I have to give mad props to my original letterer, Oren Kramik, because he did magic with my terrible scripts, and made it really look good on the page, because I was not at the, like I just said, you read the early stuff. Holy crap, please guys, read the new stuff, because it's so much better. But now we get to go back in and really clean up a lot of that early. We're not George Lucasing this thing, but it's going to be a much better reading experience now that I can kind of put new Tom into the old script and make it that much better. So I'm really excited to do it. It was really fun to dive back into this book that I haven't seen in years, because we've done 5 volumes of this now, and so I'm kind of focused on where we are with the series. But to go back into it, it's like, man, it's kind of exciting, and it's kind of I'll tell you what it is. It's really humbling, because I was such a poor writer, to be perfectly honest, that anybody who read that book should have been like, yeah, Tom's not that great of a writer. But they stuck with it, right? The people that read it and liked it, they liked the concept of what was happening. They liked the characters that were doing the things that they were doing.
Right.
Obviously enough to keep the book going, because we sold out of issue number 1. We had to do second prints. We're on to Volume 5. So clearly people like what was happening. But the reality is that they were overlooking a lot of my flaws as a writer, which, again, it's my first book, so they're going to be flaws. So I have to really thank all of the fans that basically were like, yeah, we think Tom's got something going on, and we're going to stick with it, even though it's a little weird, and maybe he needs a comma here and a comma there. And here we are 13 years later, we're still talking about this book. And that's really a testament to them allowing it to happen, more so than me willing it to happen.
What Kickstarter number is this?
Oh my God, I don't know. We're in the 20s, I think.
Okay.
Somewhere in there. Yeah. Not entirely sure. Now I'm kind of curious. I'm going to find out for you.
All right. I'm find out for me. I'm going to look at Brett's book for a minute. Brett,
yeah.
Do you have a video on that I can play?
Yeah, it's the there's a YouTube right underneath my main one.
Okay.
My main one's just me talking.
Okay. So is that which one would you like me to play? Because I got to pee, and I'd like to refill my beer, because I've been here a bit. Ben, I've seen the picture, so he's gone pee at least once.
Yeah, it is. Well, I had some barbarians. I've noticed some cats invading people's spaces here. I've got them behind the door, but they're at the gate, so I have to distribute treats every now and then. I'm surprised you guys can't hear them, actually.
No, I can't. I
Go
can't
out
hear
the door and they whine.
But I'm going to play your video. We're going to get your Kickstarter up. We're going to play the video, and I'm going to go pee and get myself another Guinness to for the next half hour to hang out. You got that number, Tom?
Yes, 33 somehow. 33.
I
So this will be
assume this much
34.
because I'm close to 20. Wow, that's crazy.
It is crazy. It is crazy.
And that's not counting stuff like the Dynamite stuff too, because you've got Dynamite ones, right?
Yeah, that well, Dynamite did their own for Indiegogo, and then I actually ran the campaign that we just finished last month. So that is technically in my thing, even though
It's in your.
It's one of my. It counts as one of my numbers, but they were. It was a dual campaign.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this one will be 34 when we get to Saturday. It'll be 34 campaigns, and so we'll be at that point we will be 33-1 because we did have one no-go, and that was all my fault. And I realized it was my fault. So we probably could have pulled it off, but I was very understanding of I didn't do this right, and so I actually canceled it about halfway through. But that's our one. We'll take that.
That was the first action figure, right?
No. The action figure went. This was our third campaign that we ever did, and it was for a Critter Volume 5 trade paperback.
Mm-hmm.
And in my brain, we had done 2 successful campaigns previously, and they were both IP that we had never done before. They were brand new books. Right. So in my brain, I'm thinking, oh, well, now we just bring out a book that everybody knows, right, and we'll be able to pull this off. But we needed a much higher number because it was a trade paperback.
Sure. And
we kind of ran it the same way as the regular campaigns, which was a mistake. And we got about 2 weeks in, and I was like, I can probably pull this off, but I feel like I'm better off if I just say, let's just stop this. Right. Let me sort of take the loss, understand why, and then move ourselves forward in whatever we were going to do. So, and it worked because I really kind of I really started paying attention as to like, how do you really do this? What does it really mean? What's the difference between floppies? What's the difference between a trade paperback or an OGN, things like that. So I learned a lot with the loss because I forced myself to really study more. And it was only our third campaign. So, I mean, I was still learning anyway. Yeah. But it was very different from doing just a floppy issue to a trade paperback like that. And you know, especially when, like you just said, right, you got an issue 5 or whatever it was. Yeah. This was volume 5 that we were trying to produce. So even though we had 1 through 4 available, so new people could come in and get the whole thing if they wanted to, it wasn't marketed properly as so that people knew they could come get it 1 through 5 at the same time. So I'll take the loss. And since then we've been on a streak that's been fantastic. And, you know, that's all the fans, man. I mean, that's them deciding to support what we do, and I can't thank them enough.
That's awesome. All right, so let's check out this video, Brett, and then I'll get my beer, and then we'll talk about this campaign. We'll go over the whole thing of Detective Potato, the shenanigans right here. Let me see. Is that big enough on you guys' end, so I don't.
Yeah,
you guys can see it good. All right, good. All right.
Fairview Coffee has mysteriously gone missing. Mayhem ensues when strange, coffee-craving zombies plague the city. Detective Mickey Potatoes, an overworked public servant, uncovers why ordinary citizens are losing their minds and how to stop the coffee apocalypse. But it involves the mafia. And when you're dealing with mafia crime families, nothing is ever easy. The mafia controls everything in the city, including the police, including him. If he breaks the mafia, they will break him. So, the city is without coffee. The city is burning before his very eyes, but he's powerless. Detective Potatoes has the power to stop the coffee apocalypse, but if he does, he could lose everything.
I'm coming. All right.
I was going to warn you, it's only a minute, so.
Yeah, I had enough. I thought I had enough, but I didn't. I got my beer. I took a pee, so I'm good. I'm good. So we are back into the world of the Dust Bunny Mafia. But this is a little different, right?
This is unlike my traditional books. This one is a all ages noir detective novel that was actually co-written by a friend of mine, Dan Bernstrom. This is
Okay.
his first foray into like the comics realm. He's actually a children's author. He's written 6 children's books. He's got a good publishing deal with HarperCollins, and he's won several awards for his different books. And I've known him since college. We were roommates, and his kids love my comics, and we've been tossing the idea around for years about letting him play in my world. And I finally got him to nail down some time, and yeah, this is the result of that. So it's a all ages detective novel following my main character, Mickey Potatoes, that pigeon, who's a Dick Tracy ripoff. And it's mixed text and illustrations.
Okay. So what category is it in?
It's technically publishing, and it's children's fiction, or fiction, I think is what I put it in for now. I had a hard time because I was like, it's comics, but it's not. So, and it actually, Kickstarter wouldn't let me put it in 2 categories, even though it said you could put 2 categories. It kept rejecting when I would put comics in afterwards. So,
one of the things you can do, though, let me tell you a little trick that I know is, remember when Brendan Sanderson like blew up for a minute? I moved all my books into publishing for a little bit because he was giving money to stuff, and you can do it after the fact, so you can switch it back and forth.
No.
It kind of only helps you for when you're on or people who are searching that stuff, but you can, yeah. Because when he was giving money away, I was like, I want some Brendan Sanderson money. He's got, fuck yeah, I got a little bit. I didn't get enough to like brag about it. He like backed at like a $50 tier, which I'll take it, but like I didn't get one of those like I'm gonna give you a whole bunch, double it. So you can do that unless they've changed it, of course. So that's neat. How are you feeling? Because it's a big goal, it's a big ask, and it's a little strange for you. You know what you're doing. How you feeling?
I'm actually feeling pretty good.
Okay.
So one of the things, I mean, 4,000 is the same ask that I did for my last trade,
Right.
and that was in September, October, and my backers came through with that. And so I feel like 4,000 is no longer that much of a reach,
Okay.
and I mean, we've literally been live for, I mean, just over 48 hours, and I'm at 32% roughly. I had the second highest day one funding for me, at just over 1,100. Which is about 25%. And so I'm not complaining about that. And
No.
I'll be adding some add-ons in actually in about, it'll be going live in about an hour to hope, get a little boost going on. But I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling optimistic because he's got, Dan, my co-author, has a good audience, even though they're new to Kickstarter. They have followed him with his other projects, and he's been kind of pumping it up on his side as well. So,
are you seeing that on the back end that you're seeing some new faces that you haven't seen before?
I am, yeah.
Oh, nice. That's great. So yeah. I mean, you should be safe then, because you know that your guys, their buying habits, right? Some of them buy at the end, some of them buy early. You want them to get in as early as you can, but they just are annoying.
Yes, I'm very familiar with the minutia, as you are.
Nice. Well, I shared it out. We'll see if we can get something. It's late at night. We've got about 12 people watching, so hopefully we'll get some. But I shared it out. We'll see if we can get you a back here. But yeah, let's hang out and chat. Oh, we got Davey Lee's coming in. Big publisher Davey Lee's. How are you?
Hello. How are we?
Davey Lee's just got his first publishing deal with Scout Comics in the kids category.
I did. Scoot Comics Benigno. It's a fun tale about an Argentinian, or sorry, that's my artist, an El Salvadorian boy traveling up towards the Mexico border, trying to ride the train for migrants up there called La Bestia. It's a real train that I sort of based this book upon. But yeah, I've been watching the chat. It's been a fun time.
Yeah. Well, welcome tonight.
Thank you, man.
And this book, are you going to go because of what it is? You're going to go straight to Amazon, Brett?
Yeah. I mean, once we get it printed, that's the goal. Is we'll throw it up on Amazon. We're doing both a print and a EPUB version, so we'll put them both on there.
Nice. But yeah, so we're going to hang out for a little bit. We're going to talk about some comics, see what's going on, talk to you guys about what you're reading, figure out what movie Tom hates this week. The important things that we go. Tom, what movie do you hate this week?
Well, I haven't seen anything this week, but last week was Cocaine Bear, and that was pretty terrible. So
okay, all right. I haven't seen it, so I can't tell you wrong.
It was unfortunately terrible because I really wanted to like it. Was the downside. I was telling everybody to go see this movie, and apparently they did because it did really well. But it fell woefully short, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't think anybody went to Cocaine Bear who wanted it to fail. I think everyone wanted that movie to be.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I agree. I was more excited about that than I was about Ant-Man. So but at the end of the day, Ant-Man was better, and I really hate to say that, but yeah, it is what it is.
I'll have to say I'm super excited about Scream. I don't know why, but this Scream's got me super excited. Scream 6.
Oh no, I'm out on Scream. I hated Scream last year or 2 years ago, wherever it was. I loved the first one so much. It was so great. Sure. And it has, people have told me, because I talk about these movies all the time. People are like, 4 was like really good. Like it kind of brought the franchise back at 4. And I was like, I don't even remember 4. But yeah, when I watched 5, I was like, this is just the same stuff. I mean, we're just telling the same stories here. So I'm not even going to bother with that. It's like Avatar. Avatar is the same thing. I'm not going to bother with Avatar again. And most of the people that I talk to, they're like, yeah, it's just the same thing, dude. Just really cool visuals. Like, obviously, I mean, that's the whole point of seeing Avatar is these wild visuals, which I got to give him super credit. But I remember walking out of the first Avatar going, what? So, no.
I swear that new Avatar movie, it was the same movie 3 times.
See, that's what I'm hearing. Like, and I'm just like, I got better things to do with 3 hours than Avatar 2. So,
yeah.
I don't know how no one could talk him into making that movie 2 hours because he's going to make, however many he wants. It seems like at this point.
It's like 7 now, I think.
Yeah. So like, we don't need to talk about the whale for like a half an hour. That would be okay. We could just stick to the basics.
And if the movie was shorter, you could get more playtime during the day, so you'd actually have more showings available.
Yeah,
he would have made more money.
I actually really dug it, just because so much of it was like, just the direction was like so Cameron-ish, and they had. I know James Horner has passed away, but like they just completely used his style of music. I love that. It just felt like a callback to what I like. But my God, did that just go on, and it kept like you said, just cycling through things. And
yeah,
we're not satisfied.
Yeah, I agree. Like there was a lot of good things about it to watch it. Like if I kind of turned my head off about the story and where that was going, then I kind of had a good time. But yeah, at some point you're like, okay, the kids are missing again, and they have to go get the kids.
Oh my God,
and the kids are missing again, and you're like, oh my God, it's already.
I was growing up the biggest James Cameron fan. In fact, Terminator is my favorite movie of all time. The first Terminator is my favorite movie of all time. I love it. I think it's great. But someone I was reading a book called Perennial Sellers, and it talks about the difference between books and stories that last forever, like a Wizard of Oz, like a Gone with the Wind, or even a Terminator. What makes it that? And they mention Avatar specifically, going, even though it made tons of fucking money, if you ask the average person, name a quote one line from Avatar, they can't.
Name
Which
a
shows
character.
that even though what can make all the money and look visually, it's not going to last forever. And that like changed my whole flip of Avatar, because after that, remember, he was heavy-handed. He pretends he wasn't, but he was heavy-handed on that last Terminator movie, trying to reboot it. He pretends he wasn't after it didn't work, but he was heavy-handed on it.
So Travis, you're a James Cameron fan. Alien or Aliens?
Aliens all day.
Aliens, really? Okay.
Yeah. In fact, I love all the action, the trooper ones versus stuff. Aliens 3 is the worst movie in the world. I will take Aliens 4, which I know is a worse movie plot wise, every time.
I worship Ridley Scott.
Yes.
Sure.
I gotta say, Aliens. I watch Aliens all the time, and I didn't grow up with that stuff exactly. I never got to watch Terminator as a kid. I'd like read the comic book adaptation when Terminator 2 came out because it was rated R. But I've grown to enjoy it as an adult. But that said, I mean, Aliens is so much better. It's a great experience. I mean, like that's one of the best revisitations of a story, and that's one thing. Like, what's really valuable about that to me is like that he took Alien, which was cool and iconic in so many ways, and like did not try to do the same thing. Tried to say, okay, what's satisfying about this? What could be carried forward into something else, but totally different. And man, that just killed. I love it.
Well, Alien is basically Jaws in space. So it's a very specific type of tone, you know. And I'm not saying that is a bad thing. I'm saying that like that's what Alien is. It's instead of in the water, you're in space. You're in this new world. And the advantage that they had there, I think, because it's a very simple story, but it's massive world building. And that's what Ridley Scott and Giger were doing. They had massive world building, and some of that world building, they didn't tell you anything. They were just like, yo, here's like a dude sitting at a gun, like, because, and you're like, okay, on to the next scene. And so people had to kind of fill in some of the gaps on their own.
I think people were fascinated with that dude for so many years until they told us who he is and what he's doing.
Yeah.
I was very disappointed when they told me what that was about.
All I read is the dialogue for that guy. Because you can find that, and I'm like, that's cool. I'm glad I know it. I couldn't have resisted reading it, but I sort of wish I didn't. It was better not to know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Prometheus is that's its own thing, but then like when you go to Aliens, that's basically the Terminator version of Alien, because it's just all guns and stuff shooting, and it's in a lot of ways it's similar now to Jaws 2 because it's just chaos. It's just this this thing is coming and it's killing everybody. So there's a lot of similarities between those two movies. And they're not necessarily, it's not necessarily for better or worse, however you want to look at it, but they're just very different movies. I think Aliens had the smart idea to be very organic and just run straight off of Alien. Same planet, they find the ship, and you're using all of the old world building. But then it does just become sort of an action movie. And so you kind of have to be an action movie fan to really, I think, appreciate all of what's happening in Aliens. But again, there is world building that works, including all the crazy like forklift guys and stuff. It's a good movie. I'm not an Alien fan enough to be able to necessarily choose between the two. I did just watch Alien again recently. I don't know why, it just was on, so I was like, okay, I'll watch it. And from a storytelling standpoint, I think I watch movies a lot now. This is why I hate everything, because I come at things from a different. I don't just sit there and eat my popcorn and go, yeah. I'm kind of examining like the storytelling of everything now, and a lot of people tell me that my stories now, when I write comics, they feel like they just went to a movie. Like they literally say your comics feel cinematic, and I'm like, yes, because that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to make paper movies now with my storytelling. And so I'll watch a movie and I'll watch, not like when I was a kid. When we were a kid, we just wanted to see the alien. But now I'm like, I'm watching Ridley move the camera in certain ways, slow, fast, up, down, close up, out. I'm really watching everything that's happening. And so if if the execution is boring, that's almost half the movie. It doesn't matter when the action is good. If the execution of it is boring, I'm like, yeah, this is not a great movie. So, you know, and that's like with Ant-Man. It's like Ant-Man has this massive world building of this quantum realm, all these crazy aliens and stuff, but like nothing really happens in this movie. It's such a, you know, we know everything that's going to happen, and then we get, spoiler alert, you know, Kang, this big Kang the Conqueror is like, oh, now he's dead. Okay. He never even mattered to us. We haven't even been told why he matters yet. So Ant-Man's a weird movie.
Yeah. I think what Tom is saying is what I agree with, is that Alien is the better movie. Just...
where do you land? Alien or Aliens?
Alien.
It's honestly been probably 15 years since I've seen any of those, and so I only had vague recollection. I enjoyed all of them to some extent. I even enjoyed, the Aliens vs. Predators series, just because it was fun, shoot 'em up kind of thing. But I don't have much to on this.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you right now, I like Alien Resurrection. I may be the only one on the planet that likes it. I mean, I don't even think the people that were in it like it, but I liked Resurrection. I thought it was a fun, organic way of telling the story. You know, we had to use part 3 a little bit, but then we were like, yeah, but then we're getting rid of it. Forget it. We're just going to take this little piece that we need, and we're going to make this clone story. It ended strangely with the weird hybrid alien thing. I mean, that was really weird. But I don't know. I like Resurrection. I don't really have much problems with it. I don't think it's a brilliant movie, but it's watchable.
I like it too. I think if you read enough superhero stuff, you're like, yeah, these guys are ridiculous. That's fine. I'm all in. Versus 3, like fucking Dog Alien is the most boring. Like I don't think I've seen Aliens 3 twice. Like I saw it the first day, I was like, this is the worst I've ever seen. Tried to watch it again, and I felt the exact same way I did when I was 16. So it did not age properly. Because most things I could see it from a new perspective, a new life later in life, but no, Alien, I think it got worse in time.
Well, even the director of Alien 3 is like, this is garbage. Stop watching it. I mean, he'll tell you, don't watch this movie.
Which is the opposite from the director of Fantastic Four, who still thinks that movie's good.
The one thing about Aliens that I guess, to bring it back to comics a little bit, that I really love, and I guess kind of what you're saying, Tom, about like you're wearing your writer hat when you watch these things and maybe sucking a little bit of the joy out of it. And this is something Cameron does a lot, I think, pretty well. It's just the momentum. And when I've been writing lately, I've kind of like kept my characters under control a little bit more than I used to, and just like looked at my, I guess, plot lines I'd be introducing at the beginning, and just being like, dude, concentrate on those. Don't get into this scene of dialogue. Don't get too caught up in how cool this action scene you have planned might be, but like think about these things you introduced. When would be the best time for them to be resolved? When would be like the best misdirects or like resolutions? Like, what is the best roller coaster ride for each of those things? And I think that's something like Cameron and Spielberg do super, like they're really cognizant of that. And I always appreciate that. Even when I kind of don't enjoy the movie, I'm like really sitting there watching like, oh, that was cool how they like really paced that out just right.
No, I agree. Yeah, that their emotional awareness of the audience, like the general audience, not the audience like us who are looking at the story and trying to interpret everything and maybe take tips or everything. I think Cameron and definitely Spielberg they hit those emotional moments when the audience needs it the best. I mean, just Titanic is still a movie that, I don't necessarily like, but I will start watching it and I just want to finish it.
Well, there's that documentary on Spielberg. I think it's on HBO Max, but it's really
Yeah.
good.
That is
And
good.
it's also
Fablemans.
Easy. And he's like, you can tell he kind of looks down a little bit on Spielberg, like he thinks he's better. But he's talking about, just how I think he was referring to E.T. specifically. And he's like, that thing in his movies where like the thing happens at just the right moment and the music does just the right thing. And everybody just gets like so into it. And he's like, and I just can't do that. I don't know how that works. I don't know.
Yeah, God forbid you give the audience a great moment of emotion and
Yeah,
joy.
no, and I was like, well, I love Scorsese, don't get me wrong, but he was like kind of looking down on it, but also realizing like, yeah, I don't do that. I don't know how to do it, but they do, and that's something I'm always like trying to look at or emulate, and when I see it, it's just so cool. I really like to take that apart.
Yeah, one of the things I started really studying Guy Ritchie. I love Guy Ritchie films.
Yeah.
I love
Hell
Snatch.
yeah.
But what I like about Guy Ritchie that I've noticed is he makes every character larger than life, and because they're so larger than life, if you actually break down like a Guy Ritchie film, the twists are really easy to see, but you don't see them because the characters are so larger than life that you're just like, wow, they're unlike a Quentin Tarantino where all of his characters are larger than life, but there's no like really twist in a Quentin Tarantino movie for the most part, but he hides it in plain sight by going, this character is larger than life and he's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And so you don't see the misdirect of the other character you liked earlier who was larger than life, because you've got the twist has to be likable too. And it's very fascinating to watch. I'm really excited about the new Guy Ritchie film. He's got a new one coming out in the next couple of weeks. I can't even think of the name of it right now. But
something Ruse, or
yeah. But even he did the same thing. Like even if you watch his like King Arthur or friggin' even Aladdin, like he does the same pattern in it. And it's fascinating when you take a Guy Ritchie film because there's a lot of elements from Snatch that go in Aladdin, even though Aladdin had the blueprint made because we have the cartoon and how he put it together. It's super interesting when you deep dive into some of these guys.
I didn't know Guy Ritchie directed Aladdin.
He directed Aladdin.
Actually, have you guys seen Thief of Baghdad?
He did the Sherlock Holmes, the two Sherlock Holmes too. The Robert Downey Jr.
Robert Downey Jr. and Jude Law.
Yeah. That makes sense. That editing is really fast paced, Guy Ritchie style.
Yeah, no, he did it. He was like Guy Ritchie is kind of like I deep dive in some of his films. He has a film, so you may not know this. He dated Madonna for a while. Actually married Madonna.
Married her.
Not just dated, married her.
Yeah.
There's a movie called Swept Away, and the premise is this. Madonna is really shitty to a maid on a cruise ship, to a like servant on a cruise ship. They get thrown overboard. They get stuck on an island. They can't get to him, and it gets reversed. And this servant is mean to his wife the whole movie, and like cruel, like cancel culture, like aggressive to her. And I'm like, that's your wife, dude. Like I know it's a movie, but this is just way too fucked up and weird.
It's everything he wanted to say.
Their divorce made sense to me. I'll just say that. There's a reason why a lot of people don't know about that movie. It is wild. But getting back to comics. So you guys were all creating comics. We're all in the scene. What are you guys seeing that's working currently and not, as a direct markets, numbers of the direct market are abysmal. And I'm not even saying that to be negative on the direct market, just there's a lot of competition. Like COVID really messed up the direct market. Not only did it cause splits for shipping and stuff like that, but a bunch of small indie publishers jumped on the market. So the indie catalog got huge, and Diamond took them all because Diamond needed to fill the catalog because they lost DC. So now like that spread really, really thin. And then on the Kickstarter side, we're seeing the same thing. Kickstarter is being flooded right now because of the loss of Aftershock and some of these other publishers. A lot of those high level guys who can't quite get to Image yet are flooding over to Kickstarter to do their stuff. It's interesting. And then we have people going like Ben here, going to Zoop, really finding success there. But I've also seen people go to Zoop and fail miserably because they didn't get a transfer over from Kickstarter. So let's talk about it. Let's bring it up. What do you got to say?
I got a lot to say.
Yeah, it's hard to know where to start on that.
There's a lot there. There's a lot there.
There's a lot to unpack there, and
let's start.
I'll start
getting
with
out
the
my notebook.
Yeah, I'll start with the retail side because I don't think that the retail side is really much different for the smaller publishers than it is so much for the bigger guys. Because if you look at the sales numbers where we were, say, 10 years ago for indie guys,
right,
smaller publishers, we're talking about like Scout and
sure.
Whoever, Zenoscope and Aspen and whatever, and even my stuff when we were publishing ourselves. Most of those publishers were selling anywhere between 3,000 to 8,000 units on the high side. If they had like big name people working on them, they'd get up into the higher realms. But nowadays, those publishers are still around for the most part, and they're still selling, 3,000 units. It's more or less the same average as far as sales through retail we're talking about, not in any other channels. It's really what we're seeing is Marvel and DC collapsing. And that's a whole different show to talk about why that's happening.
But I disagree. I mean, I've been talking to a lot of smaller publishers. I mean, they're closer to 2,000. A lot of books are dropping because they're getting less than 700 orders these days.
We're still getting, is it still dropping? Yeah, the last time I looked at sales, I mean, I did definitely see some below 2,000, but I didn't know. I haven't looked again. What is it, ICV3 or whatever, who used to report on these things. You used to be able to look at these numbers every month. Now you have to pay to get them. And that kind of tells you something, because if they don't want you to see these numbers, that's telling you something. So if they are dropping lower, that's news to me as far as like it really getting lower. It doesn't surprise me that that's happening because the direct market is wonky right now.
Right.
Has been not just because of COVID, but COVID just exacerbated everything. But I don't know what the answer is, because retailers have traditionally not bought indie books anyway for decades. There used to be 2,500, 3,000 stores in America. There's less than that now. But traditionally, there were only about 500 of those stores that really bought indies in large quantities, like significant quantities. Most other stores would be like, well, I got 2 guys that ordered it, so I'll do it for their pull box, Even for us, when we were doing it at our peak at about year 3 or 4, we were selling anywhere between 4,000 to 8,000 units of our issues. But even then, we were barely scraping the Diamond Top 300, the bottom of the Diamond Top 300. So, 10 years ago, it's a different world than now, and it's not just COVID that was the problem. So, for us, we're not even in Diamond or Lunar or anything. When I left Aspen, I had to make a decision. I was like, am I just going to go back to the direct market? Am I just going to call up Diamond and say, we're back, here we go? And I was like, no, I think I'm just going to try Kickstarter. And that's what we did about 6 years ago. I just was like, we're going to take this right to the fans. We're going to let them decide what we're doing, how we're doing it. And we put Penny for Your Soul back on the market, a brand new Penny for Your Soul book. That's the book we started with in 2010. And we had really good success with issue 1. Issue 2 was almost identical numbers, so there's no attrition like there is in the retail market. If you sell 5,000 units of number 1, you're going to sell 2,000 in number 2. That didn't happen with Kickstarter. And then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 just climbed until we were at like 600 backers and nearly $40,000 for issue 7. So our attrition went the other way, and that told me at that point, I'm like, this is it. This is the new way of making indie comics, because there are no gatekeepers. I can make whatever I want. I can put it on this platform. The fans can buy it or not if they decide not to. But there's no Diamond rules. There's no catalog that I have to be in. There's no convincing a retailer to buy it. There's no shelf space that I have to worry about that they have to. Well, if I buy your book, I can't buy this other guy's book. Forget it. We're just making a book and it goes out into the universe. And that's what a lot of these guys are doing now. I mean, I'm watching dudes that would have, quite honestly, no chance of getting into Diamond. And they're coming out and having massive success on crowdfunding. And I'm like, dude, this is it. And now the cool part is, and Pat Shand is one of these guys. The cool part is now these publishers that are in Diamond are looking at Kickstarter and going, hey, what's happening over here? Because there's a lot of successful stuff and these guys are building fan bases. How do we get those books over here? And now those publishers are going and finding Kickstarter stuff and bringing it over to the direct market. Antarctic Press has been doing this. Scout Comics has been doing this. Even Boom and some of these companies are taking their books and putting them on Kickstarter. The thing with Keanu Reeves, the Power Rangers have been there. Legendary just put Godzilla on Kickstarter. I mean, it's clear that crowdfunding is the future of comics. It doesn't mean that it's peaked or it's perfect right now, but that's the direction for making new product. And then once it's made, then you can kind of move it into all these other positions because it's paid for. All you'd have to do now is, another printing cost if you need to do a new print run. But once you have a paid for product, now you can move it across the board into all these different areas. And that's what I love about what I'm seeing about all these guys doing just crazy success on Kickstarter.
Well, it seems like there's a lot of people, and the guy that's coming to mind, I know like Brian Polito's doing amazing stuff, has really carried his like previous audience over his Kickstarter stuff in huge ways. But there's a guy named Ron Randall, I think, that does a comic called Trekker that I'd never heard of, but I think it's been around maybe with Dark Horse for a while.
Yeah, that's an old 80s indie book. Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but that carries through and does like awesome numbers on Kickstarter consistently.
Yep.
And I actually want to talk to that guy and just figure out like how do you, because that's not a book that it's not superhero, it's not. I mean, I think it's a female lead and she's pretty and everything, but it's not like a cheesecake book.
Right. Yep.
It does not really go for any of the low-hanging fruit, but that guy has really, and I don't think he's a big YouTuber. There's no obvious clues to why he's been able to do that, but he's doing it really well.
Yeah, Ron's been around a long time, and Ron is a lot similar. I would compare him to like Terry Moore, who's just been around and has just produced and produced and produced. And the people that know what he does, he's got a fan base. It's not like a Brian Polito fan base that's like super active in the internet sphere or anything, but he has people that are just like, dude, I like what you do. And here we go. We're going to follow you over there. So, fan base is key, but I definitely am seeing people coming in with just, and we'll be honest, they're coming in with the cheesecake books and stuff and selling sexy art and whatever, but you can't argue with success, regardless of what it is. You cannot argue with what's working. And then, I'm seeing a lot of these guys now who have started with some of the girl books and now are branching out into sort of, I don't know, whatever we call them, normal books, right? Just like here's a sci-fi thing or like Trekker or whatever. But there's, there's guys that have worked for Polito, for example, like Dan Mendoza. Now he was publishing his own stuff for a long time too, like Zombie Tramp and things like that through Action Lab and whatever.
I think that they said that Action Lab, that was really carrying everything else they did. Zombie Tramp.
Yeah. Action Lab was Zombie Tramp for a long time, and he left Zombie Tramp and Action Lab and started doing his own stuff. Now he's doing like $100,000, $150,000 campaigns. Guys that were working for him, like Bill McKay. Bill McKay built up a fan base being a cover artist. He just did a Kickstarter last year that did $100,000 for his first ever book. So crowdfunding is the way, as we say in pop culture now. This is the way, and it's just a matter of everybody figuring out their way of doing it. How do I do this? How do I look at Bill McKay? How do I look at Dan Mendoza? How do I look at Brian Polito? How do I look at Tom? How do I look at Travis? How do I look at Pat Shand? What do they do? How do I adjust it for myself and take a shot at it? And no one's going to just automatically be successful in crowdfunding. But if you're a student of the game, and if you think you have something that is legitimately marketable, which is also a key piece that some people miss, you have a very good opportunity of starting to build a foundation for whatever IP you're doing on crowdfunding.
Well, and I've seen it, with both my Coins of Judas and Grand State Punk. I was able to sell out both books, in the direct market. The numbers aren't amazing, but they're high for what these companies are. I'm the highest selling book in Band of Bards, and my scout book was good enough to get what's called their VHS variant. So that means it sold a decent amount. So, and because my fan base follows me, they'll follow me anywhere because I built that fan base, but it came from Kickstarter.
Right.
So I think there's a lot of truth in that. And I think Kickstarter, will always do well for the cheesecake stuff because I used to run a comic store, and I said it earlier that clientele didn't want to come in the comic store because they felt embarrassed for liking that stuff. And this allows them to get that stuff directly to their home. They don't have to work with that. And I think it's beautiful. Like, even though I don't like the cheesecake stuff, like I think it's also beautiful. Those guys don't have to be embarrassed, that they can just go into the store. If that's the stuff that they like, because art is art. Like, it doesn't matter what you like. If that's what you like, and most of the people writing Cheesecake Book, they'll tell you they don't think it's art. like we're just selling this. But then you get the breakouts like a David Pepos who broke out from doing that from Kickstarter quickly, got Eisner's and went straight to Marvel. So there is success stories that way too. It goes all the way through. And what I think is interesting though is in what I'm seeing right now in the direct market. I think we're seeing the last. I think variant covers are going to go through we're done again in direct market because Whatnot has really flooded that market. That Whatnot has really blown that up. You can buy thousands of Whatnot exclusive. There's thousands of Marvel exclusives. Every independent that has any sort of clout, whatever, will have like 6 or 7 stores on Whatnot. Just plowing this stuff out. You don't know the value of anything anymore. Where on Kickstarter, that hasn't changed. Our value of variants stay the same, which I think is showing that Kickstarter, the Kickstarter market, long term is going to be more stable than the direct market and the way they're trying to do it in the variant cover games. Because I really believe that Whatnot had no intention of staying around. I think they're a company that's built to sell. Every move that they make is a move to sell. Like
100%.
They buy the biggest things at cons. They have as many people buying. They have as many publishers doing it, and then they even buy IP, even though it's a bad move buying like a publishing thing so early in the game. The only reason to do that is to sell, because the secret to publishers is an IP is worth whatever I say it is. But that what I say it is can mean a lot more if you have Wesley Snipes in it. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So yeah, I see that, they're kind of, I think Whatnot is hurting the market right now. I think a lot of people are making money on Whatnot, but I think it's slowly killing the market very quickly.
Well, it's a lot of that stuff is people have to I don't know, maybe they don't. People have to realize that when you're talking about the things that they're doing and just the general sales tactics, it's like, okay, we're gonna Marvel will be like, well, you have to buy 500 of these to get one of these books. Right. And then those books, that 500 books, no store is selling 500 books of whatever it happens to be. That's not happening. So all that stuff just ends up in dollar bins, and is just dumped. I mean, it's artificial sales, and even with artificial sales, their sales are slumping. And this happens with a lot of the smaller press stuff too when they try to do this. And a lot of it is oftentimes IP that's really unproven too. A lot of with the smaller press stuff, it's like, hey, all this hype on these books, but then a year later, it's kind of like, yeah, I didn't really like the book, and so all the hype and everything, it just kind of drifts off. Right. You've really got to start looking at IP if you're going to start, investing. And I hate that term with comics, investing, but that is a thing that's being done. If you're going to invest with comics, you have to start looking at companies that have been around for a long time, IP that's been around for a long time. Right. Because if you're talking about something that just is a flash in the pan, you're going to spend a buttload of money. You're going to grade all these books and spend thousands of dollars. And then next year, the book's just not going to be, it's going to be gone. And what do you have? So investing is difficult. I'll never tell anybody not to buy what they like. Buy what you like. That's collecting. I want you to collect what you like. But be careful on the investing side. Be careful on the hype driven markets that these guys are like, you got to have it. You got to have it. You got to have. I'm like, oh boy.
I had to explain to my mom this weekend because she was trying to find August at the store in Cincinnati, and she could find, I think, like issues 1 and 4, but not 2 and 3. And she called to say, like, how do I get this part but not that part or whatever? And I could tell she did a conversation with the guy at the comic store, and she was incredibly confused as to how this entire business worked now. So I kind of went into a little, well, there's these variant covers, and Marvel and DC do this, and some stores don't even buy the new comics except for Batman, and sometimes not even Batman, and they sell those dolls with the big heads. And I was like 3 minutes into it, and she kept asking me questions that I had to explain further, and I'm like, I sound like a crazy person. Like, I'm describing insanity.
Yeah, it's a wonky industry. It's a wonky industry.
What do you think the consumer mindset is between, because for me, it's hard to decipher between like a crowdfunding book or just calling my local comic book shop. Like, what is the mindset there of why that brings that value, of why we're seeing Kickstarter? Because I feel like I'm used to, traditional publishing markets where, direct to market is, the king of the king, and you're going to print a book and you're going to print it with, HarperCollins or Random House, and you're going to put it in there, and, they're going to do the thing, and then people are going to come into the bookstore and they're going to buy the book. What is the comic mindset of the consumer? Like, I want to go direct to the source rather than, I'm going to try to go brick and mortar.
Well, I'll tell you one reason is when you go through a publisher to go, like, let's say you go to a publisher and they put you in Diamond, and then Diamond tries to get you in a retail store. The publisher really doesn't do shit. They will like take the book and they'll tell people, hey, we're taking Davy's book and we're going to put it in Diamond and go to stores. And that's basically the end of it. You're still really need to be the guy pushing the book and telling everybody, go to the store, buy this book. And at the end of the day, if you're doing all that work anyway, why not just sell it direct to your customer and avoid the Diamond percentage and the publisher percentage and just make more money yourself? And if you're engaging with all your fans want to hear from you. They're not interested in salesman guy from publisher Y. They want to hear from Davey. Hey, what's Davey doing? What's his new book? What's he doing? When's it coming? It's you now with the internet and with what we're doing right here and right now. You can connect with so many more people that you would have no access to in the olden days of, before social media. And it becomes, hey, I know Tom and I follow Tom on Facebook, and Tom sells his own books over here. And why don't I just buy it from Tom, as opposed to hopefully my store will carry his book? Because again, that's the other thing, is just because it exists, retail stores, doesn't mean it's going to exist on their shelf. I've had more than enough experience of customers even telling me when we were back in Diamond, yeah, I went to my store and he said he couldn't buy your books. And I'm like, your store is lying to you, because we're in Diamond. We're like in Diamond, just like you can buy a Marvel book, you can buy our books. So the retail system has a lot of cracks in it. And now all of us have the ability to just say, hey, customers, here's a book. And we have the ability to go on these shows, and Travis has an audience that follows Travis. And now we're all being looked at by the folks that follow Travis. So it's just eyeballs upon eyeballs upon eyeballs. And then it's just up to us at that point to maintain the eyeballs on us and say, now we're on Kickstarter, come get the new book, or here's my website. If you need old books, go get the old books here. We should all be on Kickstarter. We should all be on eBay. We should all have a web store. All these things should be happening to just keep us selling books all the time. And not everybody has the infrastructure for that. Nobody has the time for that, of course. And that's where a publisher comes in theoretically to be like, well, I'm going to do all this stuff for you. Except that in most cases, they don't really do that much. And so if all the information comes from Davey, you might as well be selling the book at the same time.
Right. What do you think the separation is from prose and comics? Like, why aren't more prose authors going towards Kickstarter and finding their success there?
I think they're going to. After that one dude that Travis talked about, I think it's only a matter of time before prose guys are like, yo, like let's
I had never
do
even
this.
heard of Brandon Sanderson until he did that.
Right.
Yeah. That was amazing. I mean, he literally crashed the site.
Yeah.
it literally crashed Kickstarter with that
Great
campaign.
writer.
And there's
Yeah.
actually I don't know who this new guy is, but he's on Kickstarter right now. He's made $1 million too. I don't know if he's finished or not, but there was a guy in the comic book realm, and I don't know his name, but he's making some kind of sci-fi thing, and he had like 9,000 backers, made like $1 million+ too. So there are definitely people who have following in these external realms that if they come in and they're like, yo, we're just going to do this right for you guys, it's going to be gangbusters.
But I even convince authors. I've got a couple of authors that I've trained. You know him, David Greschel, when I trained him, he was putting it on Amazon, and then everyone was like, oh, I'll just order it from Amazon, but nobody ever fucking does.
Right.
Like they need to, or they can tell him that he ordered it, and like he's not gonna fucking know really, like because he has to make $100-something, and he doesn't get access to those backers. Amazon blocks all that shit from you. So I was like, why don't you make your release an event? Make it an event. And yeah, he's only making like $1,000, but you know what? He was making like less than 100 a year prior to that. So now all his books make him a little bit of money, which I think is what matters. So even these small like romance people, if they brought their fans to Kickstarter, they would be doing way better. And yeah, they're not going to be bringing in the comic book money that we are, the profit, but their profit margin is higher because it's only one person and the covers. And two, like they're going to get that money in their pocket quick, like to be able to do the stuff versus Amazon, and nothing's preventing them from Amazon. Zero is preventing them from continuing to do what they're doing over there.
Yeah.
It almost seems even better for them.
That's actually
no paying for artwork.
Right. Yeah. And Kickstarter is in and of itself marketing, because when you launch on Kickstarter and you're in the listings of newly listed and popularity and all this kind of stuff, you're creating an event for a month basically, where you're like, come get the book, here's the book, come get the book. And Kickstarter will put you right there in front of eyeballs that, again, you don't necessarily have access to. There are people that have been buying my books for years on Kickstarter that I don't know who the hell they are. I don't know them from Facebook or Twitter or from anywhere. The only place I know their name is from when they buy my book on Kickstarter. So there's a massive amount of traffic on the platform just in general. And so every time you do a launch, it's like it's an event. And whenever you put a book in a retail store, that's okay, we're in the store now. What do we do? So,
all right, indie traditional publishers. Yeah, lots of indie publishers, and I think they should. I think indie publishers should do that for their bigger properties. I think they should throw them on Kickstarter to help some stuff.
Ben Dunn from Antarctic Press has been doing stuff for a while now with like Tomorrow Girl and some of his stuff. He's doing just wild, crazy stuff. Wild success with Ben, and again, he's one of those companies, Antarctic Press, that's been pulling Kickstarter people and saying like, we'll publish your book, dude. Just bring it over. It's already done. Bring it over. We'll do it. And even then, they're seeing sales from those types of books that are outdoing some of their regular stuff that they've been doing in the market. So it's there.
Brett, is your plan for your current book? Throw it on Amazon and then print on demand kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, we actually, so like I mentioned earlier, my co-author has a publishing deal, but we actually pitched it to his agent as probably 6 months ago when we had most of it, initially done. And it's sitting on their desk, and we didn't get a no. And so that was it's still sitting there. Let's go ahead and just crowdfund it, because he knew of the success I've had on Kickstarter with my comics. And so he's like, let's do this marketing. We'll do it ourselves, and nothing's stopping them from picking it up afterwards and the same way, if they like what we're doing. And we have plans to do more novels in this series. But we're actually going to print with Ingram Spark, which is the company behind Amazon's. Yeah. And so, but I'm going to print when this Kickstarter funds, 300 copies of the book, and then I'll do the fulfillment, and then we'll put some on Amazon. And then we'll also have, we'll print on demand as we need if the demand is there for it. So
Actually, the publisher I'm working with for August and Scarlet Twilight, they told me Red 5, they said we don't see a ton of overlap between Kickstarter sales and direct market. Like, we don't think you're cannibalizing anything there. So like, go do whatever. And I've been trying to I've actually been looking at some old stuff that I have. Like, let's put that on Kickstarter, just see if the name getting out there more just makes a little bit more noise, and if that has any direct market effect.
Yeah, most of them aren't. Most of them aren't good. However, I have heard about some predator. There's a couple. I won't say their names on camera, but if anybody needs to know after, but like where publishers are now making you sign like a if you go to Kickstarter contract, and in that contract there was one that I read the other day that is legit. They want 15% of your Kickstarter.
Whoa.
Here's the thing: that publisher, if you did good on your Kickstarter, like even an average one, 7,000 or 8,000, you're probably going to pay them more than they would pay you.
Wow. Okay.
Because the numbers are so low right now in the indie stuff. So be careful when you see those contracts. Because I think every publisher should allow you to do Kickstarter. I don't think it's different. I don't think it helps. The only thing I think for Kickstarter, the only thing a publisher should care about is, because on my Kickstarter, except for Granite State Punk, which is a Scout deal, I have retail tiers. That's a threat to them. That makes sense. They should get the retail tiers. You should be able to sell that on your stuff. That's the only thing that they should be telling you. And then a lot of them have rules where you just can't use the same cover. I think that's also respectful too. And you, as a guy, shouldn't want to use your same cover because you want to get that extra sale from the guy who bought it on Kickstarter, because a percentage of those will still buy it again if it has a different cover.
100%.
And that's actually something we did with ours. Is we polled both of our audiences. I created 4 different covers and had our audience and picked the best one, and one vote, literally, it was the deciding factor. But that makes a great point that if we do get picked up at some point, we could just say, here's the alternate cover that we've tested with our audience. They already like this, so and it'll be different from.
In the book publishing world, that's a thing. I mean, book publishers will literally have a different cover in like the Midwest versus the Northeast versus California. They'll have different covers. That's why when you find a bookstore, you're like, I've never seen this cover before. It's because that market wouldn't have resonated to this style of cover and stuff like that. Because book markets, they'll get every dollar. They're really, really smart. I wish comics were a little smarter like that too. Where like, hey, this does really well in this region. Why don't you do more of this? Hey, this doesn't do this. Let's do more of that.
Yeah, I mean, what I've been listening to, I'm very new into it, and with a little bit of traditional publishing background, it almost doesn't seem too different, because I don't know if you guys remember seeing the 2020 release of Penguin Random House's internal leaks of sales, but with them, they showed that only 3% of their books made around like 75 to 80% of their profit. And many of the other percentages were only getting printed somewhere around like 200 copies. And a lot of it came down to the author and their own personal marketing. Maybe they had a name before, but if it was a new author, they were coming out and they were going to shows, conventions, they were getting online and doing their thing. So it's really strange to try to, my brain's not really able to fix on what is the difference with crowdfunding versus the traditional publisher, other than obviously you get all the money.
I mean, that's the primary thing,
right?
You have to accept the back end infrastructure of shipping it all out and doing all the work.
Yeah.
Which in any other way, the publisher takes care of all that stuff. But,
right. So it's like risk versus reward, right? It's
yes.
kind of what you're talking about.
Yes.
Well, I think there's also a cool thing where I was watching an interview with Charlie Stickney probably a year ago, where he was talking about White Ash and that they were just like really focusing on that there was an appetite for it. Because I think he releases stuff in the stores as well, but the stuff on Kickstarter was exclusive, and it was like lots of extras, bigger size, maybe hardcover, whatever. It was like a more expensive, but had a lot more to it than you would get in the direct market. And there was also an appetite for that in crowdfunding that there wouldn't necessarily be in the stores. They would just want the story or the more bare bones version of it. Whereas with crowdfunding, if people are really into it, really into the work, they're going to want the thing that has tons of extras or, isn't a hardcover, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Which is
Well, that's even like Brian Polito, right? He will put out a book on Kickstarter. Well, let's go back to the beginning. He did Kickstarter for 2 years. He was not in Diamond. He was just doing Kickstarters for 2 years. After that 2 years, he went back into the Diamond market, basically just selling the book he did 2 years ago, right? But with new covers and stuff. At that point on his track, when he went back into Diamond, his backer count spiked. It like doubled when he went back into Diamond, and it just kept going up and up and up and up as he kept going. But he's only selling to Diamond stuff that existed 2 years ago. But all of the collectors have that original stuff from the Kickstarters. That's the only way to get it, whether it's the covers, whether it's the extras like the pins and all the things that he gives away as the stretch goals. All of that stuff is only available on the Kickstarters. So as people were buying it in the stores and they were realizing like, oh, this guy does Kickstarters, all those store people were like, oh, let me go to the Kickstarter and get all this extra stuff. And now you're talking about 3,000 backers, $400,000. He used the direct market to market himself back to Kickstarter and build that up. And that's exactly what you're talking about, is the exclusivity. People were like, yo, I want all that old stuff. But now it costs a fortune because it doesn't exist anymore. And so they want to get in on it and get the current stuff. So he's just been up and up and up and up and up with Lady Death.
That's
So
from our side of things as creators, like I think it just makes sense to do as much as you can, whether it's on Kickstarter or Zoop or Indiegogo or whatever, and the direct market. Like we don't really like the direct market's going through such a weird roller coaster of whatever this is going to be in the next few years. Like I'm just trying to put it out everywhere and see what feeds into what.
Yeah, I think that's
smart. There's nothing that says you shouldn't do anything. Yeah. I mean, I know plenty of people that do Kickstarter and Indiegogo. They do both of them. So use whatever time. It's time and reward. So if you decide that you want to do Kickstarter as your primary and it's working, great. You want to try out Indiegogo and see if it makes any money. It's the time to set it up versus what you make back.
Yeah.
So if you make enough back on it that it works, great. Do it again. But I know a lot of people who have tried to do both. They'll do Kickstarter and then they'll flip it over to Indiegogo, and it just won't land on Indiegogo. It's just a completely different audience.
I haven't tried that one yet, but I mean, because I don't know anything about this stuff, at least starting out. I don't think I know that much more now, but I've just been really trying to do everything I can and just see what kind of catches with people.
Yep, 100%.
Probably what we all need to do next.
One of the things I will say that is a fact, and we got to get off because I said 1 o'clock and it's going to the 1:30 mark. One of the things that I can tell you that's a fact, you have a better chance if you have an ongoing series, like you want to go to an issue 12 or 13 or 14 of making it on Kickstarter than you ever will in the direct market.
Yes.
Because Kickstarter has seen that growth consistently. And I think what we've seen, if history is right, those are the people who matter. If you look at Stray Bullets or Cerebus or even Strangers in Paradise, all these guys, they didn't give a shit if anybody was buying them. They just kept making them. And that's what made them semi-famous and marketable, because the later it was like, this motherfucker's not going to leave. He just keeps making books. Like, we might as well put him on Daredevil or something. Like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. Because all those classic guys, they just kept making them because they didn't care if anybody was buying them, because they're going to make it because they love the comics, they love the medium. And I think that's what you're going to see on Kickstarter probably 2 or 3 years from now, that those people are they're gonna have to pay notice because they're on like issue 15 or 16, where the only thing on the direct market now that's really getting to those numbers is Something Killing the Children. That's the only new one that's really got to those numbers, like legitimately, and keeping up the hype to where it is. That's not a franchise like Spider-Man or That's the only new one. Even Scott Snyder's stuff, they're revamping with the ones, because it's dropping off at 10 or so. Because in the direct market, your issue 1 is going to be the highest it's going to be. Then issue 2 is going to drop at 50 and then lower and lower. So you got to be careful, and you got to figure out what that looks like long term. And I think that if you want to do long term storytelling, which I think is the key to getting into Marvel, DC, and all that, which is something, by the way, I learned later. I've been doing tons of miniseries. I wish I would have just stuck to one series. I think the key is keep doing it and get that audience on Kickstarter so it's undeniable.
Well, the longer an IP exists, this is something that just boggles my mind. There's so many people that just make comics. They're going to do a 6-issue miniseries to basically pitch a concept to Hollywood, right? So there's a lot of hype around whatever it is. Oh my God, this thing is so great. And then they do 6 issues and it basically disappears. The IP is gone. Right. Comics and comic collectors are long form story format, and the collectors want long form stories. They want this IP to keep going. I mean, even Invincible ran for like a decade before he ran it to the end. But there's so many people that are just like, I have this idea, and this idea is tiny, and there's nothing wrong with making tiny ideas, nothing at all. Don't get me wrong. There's plenty of like OGNs that are just one story and we're done and we're in and out and done. But when an IP stops and an IP didn't, and it wasn't something that blew up like a Watchmen, right? Like Watchmen went crazy because it was this moment in time. If you create something that's a moment in time, you're fine. But if you're just creating like, well, here's my superhero story, and it's 6 issues and we're done, and you're never going to hear about it again, you might sell through those 6, but then people are like, well, what else you got? Is there anything else? And the book just starts to languish because there has nothing else going on unless you've made a TV deal or something somehow. But the longer your IP exists, the more opportunity you have to actually land some sort of a deal. Because if you can come into Hollywood and say, well, yeah, we've done 82 issues of this book, that tells you that you have consistency. That tells people that you have a fan base. It tells people that you know how to hang around and keep telling a story, and that's what they want to see. No one is going to see 6 issues of a random miniseries and Hollywood's going to be all over it. But if you can tell them we've done 82 issues, something's there. There's something there. At least that's the way that I'm looking at it, because everything that we do is long form storytelling. Even if we do recurring miniseries like Penny for Your Soul, we've done 5 volumes of it. So it's like you're looking at almost 40 issues, but it's like 1 through 7, 1 through 7, 1 through 7. And we just kind of bring it back as volumes, but the story keeps going. So that's the way that we do our stuff.
Yeah, no, I think that's a huge thing. My goal when I started out was I just wanted as much content as possible. So I was like miniseries, get my trades. So I'm undeniable as a writer that I have a whole bunch of trades. But as I've seen it, I'm building a new audience every time I'm starting something new versus Charlie Signey or Pat Shand. No, they're Destiny New York keep going, White Ashes keep going. Like that's never stopped. They just added extra books or sub books and stuff like that. Oh, that's a completely different way to look at it. And neither way is wrong per se, but I think long term they're further ahead because of that.
Mm-hmm. Do you think Jeff Smith's model with like Bone, with sort of mostly classified in that demographic of his readers, the sort of grassroots getting into libraries, more of that direct market way is even viable nowadays? Or what do you think about his approach? That was a long time ago, but
grassroots I think now is more like webcomics. The perfect example, right, is Stepin Sejic and Sunstone. He basically just made a book that he wanted to make and gave it away for free online, and the internet lost their mind. They're like, this is the greatest thing ever. And now he's done like 7 volumes of this thing, and it's one of the best selling graphic novels, whenever he puts out a new one. But it was literally a free comic that he was doing, I think, on his Patreon or something for a period of time. And then eventually he put it into print. And that's what a lot of people are doing now. They're just saying, here, it's online, it's digital, it's webtoons, it's digital in some capacity, so you have to pay for a little bit. But then they get to a point where they have enough content and they make a trade paperback. And all of those fans, I shouldn't say all of them, but a good portion of them that are following them on whatever digital capacity are like, oh, I can put this on my bookshelf now. Kickstarter blows up. And I'm seeing this on a lot of different platforms Even the new one called Crowdfunder, I've been seeing some guys bringing their audiences over from Webtoons and stuff and doing really, really well on a platform that has no audience. So it's audience building, it's IP building. And like Ben said, just put it everywhere, man. However you want to post it digitally, however you want to post it for sale, just put it everywhere.
Yeah, I think publishers, I don't know, I feel like the two dogs, Marvel and DC, are like reticent to do the sort of digital release. But as you said, like, I feel like more people are willing to buy a physical copy if they've loved it on digital. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, Marvel and DC do some digital stuff that really only exists digitally. There is a little bit of that. But the comic book market still is, by and large, give me a book, I want to put it in my hand, whether it's a floppy or a trade paperback or whatever. That's still the primary. There's definitely an audience for digital comics, web comics, whatever you want to call them. But I think just the fact that you can make a web comic and then tell all your fans, hey, we're making a physical book, and it works and you sell a lot of them, it tells you that people still like that physical book.
Mm-hmm. And I think you should thank your gods that Marvel and DC were greedy and decided that digital comics should stay at the same price that physical comics are. Literally, that has saved every one of us to make comics. Because if they decided these cost $2, they'd be having a completely different discussion now.
Wow.
I think that's true.
So, but I think with that, I think we're going to call it a night. We will do this again next week, 10 p.m. We're going to have a different group of creators, get some backers. Brett, make sure you come next week so I can get you some backers. I'll get you some extras. But thank you guys for hanging out, talking some comics. I love talking comics and talking about the industry. I think a lot of people got educated. In fact, if hopefully people watch it to the end who watch the stream later and see the stuff, because there was some great info here at the end. Ben, one more time, we can find Scarlet Twilight on Zoop, and then it's in Diamond when?
It's in Diamond now. It's going to be in stores, I think, May 24th.
Okay. All right. Brett, you're on. You're right now. It's what's the name of your book? Potato Detective.
Detective Potatoes. Case
sorry.
of the Coffee. You're good. Case of the Coffee Apocalypse. Live on Kickstarter until March 27th.
Davey, I know you just signed the contract, and I know the communication with the company that you're working with tends to be a little lackluster. Do you have any idea when your release date is?
I do not, but
Okay.
I do know that there is a Kickstarter coming that I have a short 6-page story called Belly Rider that I'm excited to do with Apollo City Comics and lesser known comics that comes out in April. It's a punk rock anthology that just happy to be a part of. And of course, Cthulhu Invades Neverland coming up soon too as well.
And I still want to get you. I want to get you a full solid yes from you for Belly Rider for Tales of the Collective 2024.
Yeah, that would be solid. Yes.
Okay. All right. And Tom, you're launching on Saturday. Penny for Your Soul.
Yeah. Saturday. Yeah. And all of our campaigns, for the most part, are just 3 weeks now. So just keep that in mind. If that, if you're thinking about it, we do 3-week campaigns. So it'll end on the Sunday, the 26th.
Nice. One final question for you. You said a lot about the story. Are you touching up the art, doing some more digital coloring, or no? Okay.
The art is all staying the same. The only thing that I'm touching is the dialogue and the word balloons and all that kind of stuff. We're upgrading all of that, so it'll be the visuals will remain, but the reading experience will be better.
Okay, awesome. All right. Well, good night, everyone. Thanks for coming out. We appreciate each and every one of you. Make sure you look up all these guys. Thanks for coming out and hang out. And everyone was here earlier. Doghouse, Misfits, I Drive Service, and of course, my wife's book, Super Delicious, sing-along blog. Not blog. That's Dr. Harb. Sing-along comic, Cottage Cheese. Good night. I will see you guys all later.
Good night, everyone.
Hi, everybody.